they said, oh, well, there's a video showing you go through the trash can that he threw the weed away in. I literally said, show me the video. I want to see it because I know it doesn't exist. They said, we're not showing you the video because you start to remember that there's more to you than being an LAPD cop, because those people that wrote it, that's their everything. That I have no ability to be rehabilitated because this is a pattern of conduct because of that P1 incident. And now that this is happening, that I am a horrible leader. It was so bad. When I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, who is this person? That's me.
All right, Sarah Patterson, welcome to the Purpose Over Pleasure podcast, hosted by Alex Payne. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the pleasure of having Sarah on the podcast. You're quite a character, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah, twice fired from LAPD. I don't think I know anybody who's been fired from LAPD twice.
Well, now you do.
Now I do. I can cross that off my bucket list.
Yes.
And then, mother of 4 boys, fellow fasting enthusiast and a carnivore, but let's get back to the LAPD part. Let's get the meaty portion out of the way, right? Because I want to know why twice.
Okay.
So let's get and so does my audience, and
Sounds good.
And then I want to know about what makes Sarah.
Okay.
And why Sarah got fired.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's just my nature.
I know.
You know.
It's all good. I'm an oddball myself, so let's dive into that. Walk me all the way back to 2011. 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you are senior to me, my friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Barely, but yes.
Yeah.
So,
not in that way, but
No, I know.
rank wise, but
I did my probation at Hollywood. So did the academy, I go to Hollywood, and I was very nervous to be a cop because the reason why I became a cop was I owned a CrossFit gym, and these Metro K-9 officers were clients of mine.
What city was your
Laverne, CrossFit Laverne.
Okay.
So they were my first clients that came through that were not friends or family. And so after, over the years, they asked me, have you ever thought about being a cop? And I said, absolutely not. Out of all the million things I wanted to do, cop was not one of them.
Yeah.
So they said, well, I think you'd be a really good cop. Why don't you go on a ride along with us? So I went on a couple ride-alongs with Metro and K9, and this is awesome. I need this in my life.
They lied to you, dude. Not all the right.
I know. I mean, now I look back, I'm like, I curse you for
to
making me do this. Not making me, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of pressure. They put a good word in for me, like, hey, she squared away. I'm like, okay. So my first day at Hollywood, I'm just so nervous. So nervous, in fact, that I locked myself out of the station. So embarrassing, but, it was a good laugh.
First day of probation.
Yep. So that's how, my first, introduction to Hollywood as a police officer.
It's a fun division to work in.
Yeah. So, needless to say, I had a really good time on probation. My last month before making phase 3 P1. So phase 2, the 6-month period, And I'll never forget it, obviously, because it was so highly impactful in my life. It was Christmas Day, 2011. And I was working with an FTO that was very hard. He was a very, very hard FTO.
But you're already out of the sign-off phase. You're phase 3.
No,
right?
I was still phase 2. I was literally,
okay,
it was my, I think it was
you're
the
in
last.
training still.
Still in training, and I think it was my last week before it became phase 3.
Okay.
That part, I think it's either the last week or the last EP, one of that.
Okay.
And he was very big about tactics. If I wanted to stop somebody, he had to have me tell him, what's your probable cause? What's your reasonable suspicion? How are we going to approach this before we did anything? Because he was very good about tactics. And so we go to Santa Monica and Highland, that big area of narcotics and everything. And so it's closed because it's Christmas. And I say, hey, I think can we stop those people? Okay, tell me why. And so I went into, it's closed business. They have no reason to be there. There's clearly posted no trespassing signs. There's a hand-to-hand transaction that just happened, so potential narcotics investigation. He's like, Okay, let's go. We stop them, and sure enough, it's a drug deal. So we have, it was a multi-3 arrest. It turned into one had possession of methamphetamine, the other was for sales of meth, and then the other one had a warrant.
Mm-hmm.
So I was so proud of myself. It was my first OBS arrest, and I was like, yes, I did it. And we have a unit come transport everybody. We go back to the station. My P3 tells me, hey, it was your OBS. You need to do all the paperwork. You're going to write it, everything from start to finish. Okay. It was the first time that I wrote my own OBS arrest.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing that. He's doing the strip search. During my paperwork, a supervisor comes over and tells me, hey, this guy over here says that his money is missing. Did you steal his money? Or no, he didn't say that. He said, where's his money at? And I remember being like, oh, are you accusing me of stealing? That's why, like, intuitively, you're like, are you accusing me of something? So I walk him over. I said, well, no, I have all his money, yes, but he's going for sales. So I show him all the money, and he says, no. He says it's a $100 bill that you stole. And I'm like, oh, well, there was no $100 bill, because if it was, it'd be right here. He's like, okay.
Hollywood didn't have cameras at the time, right? Back in 2011?
Body worn? No.
No, yeah. Okay.
No. I mean, I wish they did.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
so he leaves. My P3 comes back he just finished strip searching, and I tell him, hey, that sergeant just said that we stole $100.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, don't worry about that guy. It's like, okay. So I continue, and then that same sergeant comes over and says, hey, now this other guy says that you guys threw his marijuana away. It's like, there is no marijuana. It's meth. It's all right here. Everything he has that there is marijuana to be going to add to the charge, because back then it wasn't, it was actually a crime then.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, here's everything that we have. And he's like, okay. So he pulls me and my P3 outside with the watch commander. And I'll never forget it. We're standing in the booking stalls, and he looks at both of us and says, did you throw his weed away? And I said, no. And he says, ask my P3, did you throw his weed away? And he says, no. And so that was it. We walk away, and I asked my P3, what is going on? And he's like, don't worry about them. Okay. I'm a P1. I have no idea.
That right there. that don't worry right there is already, yeah.
Yeah. Well, at the time, for face value, okay, I trust my P3, right? It's like, so we finish everything. We book them. I come back to work the next day. My classmate's there, and she goes, hey, did you hear about that P3 and P1? I guess he threw weed away at the station and they found it. My heart dropped to my feet, and I was like, that's us. That's our keeper. Mm-hmm. And so immediately I was like, what weed? Like, what are you talking about? But obviously, so I see my P3, and he's like, you're not working with me. I'm benched. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I have no idea what's going on. Again, like, I have never experienced a complaint. I'm brand new. I have no idea.
Explain to them benched, because the public does not know what benched
means.
Yeah.
So benched is like you are not in the field. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be in patrol. You're going to be assigned to the desk.
Some admin crap.
And it's basically to not make you an additional liability. Mm-hmm. So you need to be inside pending this investigation to see how it turns out. So I was just, okay, so they reassign me with somebody else. I make phase 3 P1. And I go to the HED unit, the Hollywood Entertainment District unit.
Yeah,
and
I
was very excited. I worked with an awesome P3 who was just like, let's go and do OBS work. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, like, I know I didn't do anything wrong. My P3, on the other hand, he ended up getting admin transferred, like that next DP. I was like, there's something serious going on. And then I get my notification that there's that I need to get interviewed. I'm like, okay, sure. So I have no idea, lawyer, rep, like where do I go? So
they don't explain that in the academy.
They do not.
Yep.
And so I sought advice from the watch commander, who told me, you have to use Ira Salzman. He is the best of the best.
I remember when I was going through my stuff. Yeah, somebody recommended
the best,
him as well. Yeah.
Right? God rest his soul. He was an amazing man. And so I used Ira, and I became very, very good friends with him because of this. So we go to my first interview. We have it at his office over in Pasadena. The interview was almost 3 hours long.
With interview with who? With Ira?
Internal affairs.
Okay, so it was you, Ira,
and not one investigator, but 2 investigators.
Okay.
And so the interview consisted of did you throw weed away? Did you do this? Did you do that? And I will tell you, here's the one mistake that I made. I went into it I'm not dumb, right? Like, I mean, I got my degree in chemistry. I studied very hard. You know, I'm not dumb. So I read policies and stuff to prepare for it, right? And so I answered the questions how I understood policy to be. And that's like foreshadow for my other complaint down the road, but because it's an interpretation as a sergeant for the other one. But so they're asking me questions, and this is the one question they asked me. They said, did you leave money in the car in the car that you towed? And I said, absolutely not. 100% we did not leave money in there. We took everything out. And then they showed me my, what's it called? The sheet, where you impound it, the impound sheet. Mm-hmm. Gosh, it's been so long since I've been there, so I forget a little bit.
It's all right.
And it says right there in my handwriting, left $5.72 or whatever it was in cup holder of car. And so it was like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, I was just so emotional that they're accusing me of stealing something that I was like, there is no way that I would have left this in there or like, you know, so I interpreted it just completely different. And I said, you never answer a question 100% that you didn't. And so I said, okay, my bad. That was my bad. And so like, okay, I took, just so you know, at the end of this, for not booking that money, that alone, I took 5-day hit for that. As a brand new P1, not signed off on your book. So anyways, so I get interviewed afterwards. Ira tells me like, hey, you did really good. I'm really proud of you. You know, that was a lot. It was a very long interview. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I still think everything's fine, but then they're like, well, you're going to get out of HED now and you're going to go sit at the desk. So I'm now benched. I'm like, okay, but I'm still working. 1 week. I'm sorry, take it a step back. I had to get re-interviewed.
Why?
It was like, okay, well, what do I need to get re-interviewed on? So now they said, because part of that investigation was, did you guys conspire to throw weed away? Did he tell you he was going to throw weed away? I said, I had no idea that anybody... So at this point,
you still don't know why your FTO is benched?
No, I do now. But after the interview...
No, at that point, not right now. At that point, you still... Because you guys are separated now working together.
Yes. Okay. I knew during my first interview is when I found everything out. Well, I knew from the rumor mill, like, oh, he threw weed away at the station, right? Like.
So let me guess, he threw weed away?
He did.
Okay. Without you knowing?
Without me knowing. He was doing a strip search, and I guess there was weed in his pocket, because he showed me the pictures. What he did, he had a black glove on. He pulled it out of his pocket, folded it up, and chucked it in the trash can.
One less item to book?
Yeah, which is like silly, right? Because you have a P1.
Now it's nothing.
But you have a P1 that would have cost him nothing. Yeah. But so they showed me the picture of the glove in the trash can, unfolded, and the weed in there and all stuff. So that's how I knew about that. So they asked me, did you know about it? And I said, absolutely not. And just so you know, another fact here, my P3 had actually written a 15-7 admitting to not telling the truth initially to the sergeant and admitting that I knew nothing about it.
Okay, I respect that.
So he fell on his sword, said, hey, I did this. Okay. So they re-interviewed me and said, well, are you sure you didn't know about it? And I said, 100%. I did not.
Absolutely.
That one, I was I did not know about that. Yeah. So they said, oh, well, there's a video showing you go through the trash can that he threw the weed away in. I literally said, show me the video. I want to see it because I know it doesn't exist. They said, we're not showing you the video. Okay, so my lawyer, Ira, chimes in and says, well, I'm going to throw it on the record. That's a POBAR violation. And they were like, yeah, that's great. We're not showing you the video. So I said, well, I have absolutely zero recollection of me going through trash cans in the middle of Hollywood Station. Because where Hollywood was, you have the GCI machines in that little area, and there's trash cans there. There's 2 of them. And I said, I have zero recollection. That didn't happen.
But then it's a trash can. It's not like you remember every time you use the restroom, or every time you throw trash in it. Like, you don't, dude, that's so stupid.
Yes.
And I've been to Hollywood. I've booked it in Hollywood Station before. Yeah. As you walk up forward, you might have thrown something away. You got out of the car, you picked up trash. Like, it's a dumb thing to ask.
Yeah.
You know, so today I used the restroom 1,500 times. You know, I
Yeah.
throw away trash 1,600 times. You know, like so dumb.
So to me, it was kind of one of those things where you start to see, like, you guys are looking for something
Mm-hmm.
to get me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that interview concludes literally 1 week before I was supposed to make P2.
Mm-hmm.
I get called into the captain's office, and middle of my shift, I'm working. I just started. It wasn't the middle of the shift. It was I was watch 3 desk, and I had just started. I get called into the captain's office, and it was Grimala. Do you remember Grimala?
Yeah.
Amazing. Love her. I will never say a bad thing about Grimala. She is an outstanding human being. And she pulls me into the office and she says, "Hey, I'm so sorry to have to do this to you. This is your LOT." She's serving me. And the LOT, letter of transmittal, is the final disposition of a complaint, the recommendations. And it says, she's like, "I want you to know I sent this up OR, which is official reprimand. And a West Bureau deputy chief military endorsed it, which means they overturn her Grimala's recommendation and is firing you. Sustained false statement to internal affairs, termination."
Which statement was false?
That I knew that he threw the weed away because of this video that exists that I was never allowed to see.
Did Ira do anything about that?
So about the them firing me over that?
No, you can't. If that's their excuse to fire you, then they have to have proof, and then you can't.
Well-
like when I had my situation, there was clear video of why they AD'd me, but at least that was the point. There was a video.
But were
it's
you
not
a
like,
P1 or a P2?
I was a P1.
Okay.
I was a P1, but it's like it makes no sense to me. So and he just let it go like that.
Well, no. So he didn't let it go. I mean, he made his objection,
Mm-hmm.
but when you're a P1, you're an at-will employee, right? So
Yes,
you
yes.
don't have the same privileges as you do
Mhm.
as a P2, or
Mhm.
you can go and fight that at a board of rights. You don't
Yeah.
get a board of rights as a P1. So this is something that was interesting, and I found out later. So Grimala actually relieved me of duty, which you don't do for P1s. But I found out later that she was trying to buy time to hopefully
to get to the P2.
make me to get
Yeah,
P2.
yeah.
And so she badge, gun, and ID. And I was always known for not having tear ducts because I don't cry.
Mm-hmm.
And I had tears streaming down my face. And I told her, "I'm so sorry. I do not mean to cry in front of you. I hate crying in front of people. I can't believe this is happening. Like, I didn't do anything wrong and I'm getting fired." So I gave her my stuff, and she did something that I'll never forget. She said, "Don't leave my office right now," because I had no badge anymore, gun. I heard her, "Everybody get out of the station." She cleared the station out so I can walk up to my locker and not have anybody see me without my badge and gun, so I wouldn't be embarrassed. Went upstairs, I changed, and I left. And I thought that was something that was so meaningful
Yeah.
because it's humiliating.
Yeah.
You walk into the office, everybody knows you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You walk out with no badge and gun. That's humiliating. And she knew that. She knew that before I even thought to think about it. So I thought that was very respectable, and it was so sweet. So I go home that Friday, because that was on a Monday. So that Friday, I get a call from Internal Affairs and says, "Hey, you just so you know, you're relieved of duty status. That was an error. You need to come and sign your termination papers because you're fired." Okay. So at the time, IA was at Bradbury Building. It's somewhere else now. So I was on my way down to Bradbury Building to go sign my termination papers, and they were like, told me, "You're fired. You're technically fired. You just need to come and sign it." Okay. So I get there, I pull in, and I get a phone call from Grimala, and she says, "Are you at the Bradbury Building?" And I said, "I just pulled in." She said, "Turn around and go home." She's like, "This isn't over. Go home." I said, "Yes, ma'am." So I went home. She's like, "I'm going to call you tomorrow." And I said, "Okay." So I get a call the next day, Saturday. "Can you come down to Hollywood Station?" I said, "Yeah." I drive down, and I sit down at her table in her office, and she gives me back my gun, badge, and ID. And she's like, "I had a very long conversation with the assistant chief, and we both agreed this is ridiculous." And she saw it too. She actually, because what happens is when you have your complaints, nobody reads them. Once it gets up that level, they just sign off the recommendation.
Yeah. Yep. I'm familiar with that process.
Yeah. So she actually took the time. My without Gurmala, I would never have gotten my job back. She went and fought for me.
She's still employed?
She's retired.
She's retired?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What rank did she go up to?
I believe she was a chief, a deputy chief.
Deputy chief?
Maybe assistant chief. I don't want to insult her. I don't remember.
Okay.
Because I was already fired when she retired, so I don't remember.
The second time?
Yes, the second time.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she said, what we're going to do, because you have been robbed of your probation, because she's like, we're going to let you make P2 tomorrow on Sunday, and you're going to go to 77th Division because you need to catch up.
Was that your pick, or?
I had zero pick because I've been
going through this?
I was in trouble, so I didn't have any.
She took care of you.
She said 77th is a near and dear, has a near and dear spot in my heart. Yeah. And I want you to go there because I want you to catch up on what you've missed out as a P1. Because I literally had 6 months of training and then I was benched for 6 months. Yep. I knew nothing. How much can you learn in 6 months as a P1?
Nothing. At the desk, nothing.
Nothing. I learned how to do impounds very well and releases,
you
know? So I made it to 77th. And as soon as I was very happy, grateful. I mean, I cried again. I'm just so happy because it's like everything. I'm like, why did I give up my gym for this? Why? Like all the whys go through and you're like, did I make the right decision? And I get my job back. I mean, granted, I wasn't, I didn't know I was fired that week. I found out on Friday that you've been fired this whole time, just so you know. But I got it back, which never happens. And so I went to 77th and I was so grateful. That's what I put for number one when I wanted to do my probation. So I was very grateful. And I go there and I worked with some amazing people. But then what happened was I got called into the office at 77th.
So pause for a second. What year did you get to 77?
That was 2012.
Until
2019.
Okay, so you were 77 for. No wonder you look familiar. Okay.
Were you there with me?
Well, I worked Newton, so I was in Newton.
Okay.
I started 17.
Okay.
And we would always tip over in 77.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And you guys were in Newton, and we were at 77. Okay, so you're there 7 years, right? And then during the 7 years, anything crazy happen, or just kind of like climbing up the ranks and doing your thing?
No, I had a great career. But before we get to that real quick, because I did get in trouble for this complaint, it didn't just go away. Like the P1 complaint.
Okay.
I get there and I get called into the captain's office.
Okay.
And he says, if we're doing a redisposition.
What is it in that?
It means we're not firing you, but you're still going to get in trouble for it. So you're going to keep your job. So I took a 15-day hit. 10 days for a misleading statement.
Which one was that? Absolutely not. No money in the car?
For the video that doesn't exist. They changed it from a false to a misleading statement. And so I said, if I was guilty of a misleading statement, why did I get to keep my job?
Yeah.
I was a P1. They could have kept me fired. So a false statement or misleading are both dishonesty allegations. So why would they not just fire me? And then 5 days for the impound, for the not knowing the impound policy. So I took 15 days. And I told my captain, I said, I'm going to go to Board of Rights. And he looked at me and said, Sarah, if you go to a board, they will fire you. Take your 15 days, take your lumps. In 5 years, it won't matter. You're not going to promote anytime soon. You're brand new. Just take your lumps. So I went and talked to Ira, and he said, typically I would say to fight it, but I agree with him. If you go to a board, because it wasn't a civilian board, then it was command staff board. So he's like, they are going to fire you. So I said, okay, take my 15 days.
Unpaid?
Unpaid. I mean, I had the insurance through the league, so you get reimbursed later. But during my 15-day suspension, I got shingles from the stress.
I know, dude. That sucks.
Have you had it before?
Yeah, I didn't know shingles come from stress.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
You must have been stressed out.
Yes. I mean, I
Shingles
was,
suck.
28 years old at the time? Like shingles?
Yeah.
Isn't that like an old people? I mean, in my
know.
head, I'm like, what?
Dude,
like,
it's the worst.
Awful. It's
the
so awful.
worst.
So I couldn't even enjoy my suspension days.
I know.
You know, you're just tied up, just like,
Yeah.
oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh.
I now for sure. Yeah, you were stressed. 'Cause
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
That was my first taste of internal affairs. So I came back from my suspension days and I was very disgruntled. You know, even when I came back, I still had shingles, but I was like, well, I'm not going to keep taking days off. Like, I need to get back to work. So I came back and in my head, I was just like, I hate it here. I took 15 days. I didn't do anything wrong other than not know the impound policy is a brand new P1. I'm so sorry.
As if every P1 knows the impound policy.
Nobody does. Nobody knows that you have, well, I'm sure they do now, but like nobody at the time knew that you have to book if you find a penny
Yeah.
in the car, you have
Dude,
to book
I'll
it.
tell you right now, I don't care. I left that miserable place a long time ago. I don't give a shit. I've impounded, not impounded shit, thrown away weed when I wasn't supposed to. I don't care. Like, what again? Come after me.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it because everybody's down to do it. Maybe not on probation, maybe not, but looking forward now in 2026, dude. What is weed now?
Nothing.
What is weed now? How much weed have thrown away over the years?
It's like
man?
a cigarette. It's equivalent to a cigarette.
Yeah. So I don't care. It's stupid. It's
Yeah.
just going back, man. Just it irritates me to hear that they pinched you for some stupid things, and I can relate to that on my own. But I've seen other cops get pinched, and what bothers me the most is that they do that to cops who are eager and hungry and willing to work and willing to fall on the sword any time for the job in the department, and then they turn them into disgruntled, lazy assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go in there as a rookie, you see all these disgruntled cops, and then tell you a story. Oh no, that guy used to be a hard charger. That guy used to be a hard charger, but then the department pinched him, and now they're just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I don't want to do nothing. I'll just sit here and retire. And I was like, man, that's sad, dude.
It is
That's
so
sad.
sad. It is so sad. And that's what I thought I was going to be. You know, when I got back, I said, well, I hate it here. And what I did, I had to make a conscious effort. This is before I had kids and was, it's a very different lifestyle. But I said, it's going to be a very long 30 years if I have this disgruntled attitude, right? So I put a smile on my face every day, even though it was fake.
Yeah.
I was like, this sucks. I hate it here, but I'm going to smile and pretend. And eventually what happens is that fake smile turns into a real smile. Because when you smile, it makes somebody else smile. And so it's like a very contagious thing. And I learned this just by accident, right? It's like, okay, I'm just going to come and smile and yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and do what I got to do and get better. And it turned into a real smile. And I worked with I will tell you, like, 77th is the best division. No offense to Newton, but 77th is.
Oh, there's some great cops there.
Oh, it is
100%,
the best. The camaraderie there is unlike anything I had ever seen. Even with like every team, every sport I've played on, it's so different. It was just when I left Hollywood, everyone was like, oh, be careful. Like, it's very cliquish and very it's very shitty at 77th. You're not going to like it there. When I got there, I was like, first of all, Hollywood is the worst. It is cliquish beyond cliquish. Like, it is so bad. It's just, I get to 77th, the most humble and amazing cops I've ever seen. I was in awe. I felt like I was around celebrities. I got to work with, I don't know if he's going to care if I say his name, but Orlando Diaz. Do you know who he is?
No.
Legend at 77th. He was, I think he's at Olympic now, but one of the best cops I have ever seen in my life. Has been in multiple OISs, knows how to get a gun like that, just a phenomenal cop.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to work with him. It's just like you get to work with these people who are just phenomenal and you learn a lot. And it just turned my attitude completely upside down. I was like, I love it here. So I made the best of my career, worked with amazing partners. I always had like consistent partners for a long period of time. So it was wonderful. I loved 77th. I took the sergeant test. And I didn't think I was going to make it. I was
After
like,
5 years?
No, I took it around like the 8.5-year mark.
Okay. Because you spent, 2012, 2019. So you were there 7 years.
Yeah.
Oh, so you took a sergeant test somewhere else, not a 77?
No, I took it there because that was total time on the job. So it was like around 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when I took it, or maybe 7.5 years, because I made it at 8.5. I don't know. I made it at 8.5 years.
Okay. First try? You made
No,
it?
no. I failed the first time. Because, it's like you do it for fun. Like, I wonder if I could do it.
Yeah.
No, I passed the written, but I horribly bombed the oral.
Mm-hmm.
But like what I was told is like, your complaint's going to hurt you, because what happens when you go to promotions, your promotional teams comes out.
Oh, Jesus.
Anything that's sustained, it shows up and you have to explain it. So when I took the sergeant interview the second time, I just got lucky with my board. I had this awesome captain from Southeast at the time, and she was just...
What's her name?
I don't remember what her name was.
Female black?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Female white. She had like short blonde hair. But she was so nice. Like she actually like asked me questions and like had a conversation. Like it was really nice. I could tell it went well.
Yeah.
But I was still like, I'm probably not gonna, I'm not the best at like I get very nervous and and when I saw the list, I was like, oh, I'm band 10. I think it was like 9 or 10. I would think it was 10. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to make sergeant, which I was fine with. I loved 77th. I wanted to stay and be a street cop. And I had aspirations of going to gangs, going to Metro. And it's funny because the first time I tried to go to gangs, I got a call from the sergeant of gangs like, hey, we're starting a SPU unit. We want you to be part of it. And that unit's going to go into gangs after a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I just found out I'm pregnant with my first son, so I can't. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, after the baby, like, we'll have a spot for you. Okay. Then I put in for Metro, so I tried out, I made it. I get the phone call. Hey, congratulations, you got a spot in Metro. Oh, I'm pregnant with twins. So I had twin boys. It's like, so she told me on the phone, well, we can't not bring you because you're pregnant. I said, yeah, but that means I take up a spot for somebody else that deserves to be there. That's not going to be light duty. So I said, I'm just going to pass. Thank you, but I'm going to pass because I don't think it's right to take a spot. And it's like, who knows after I have the baby, am I going to bounce back quick? I mean, or the babies, because there was 2 of them. So I gave up my spot. So I was like, well, I guess those 2 things are out the door. And that because you become a mom and things change, right? So I made sergeant and I see the transfer. I'll never forget it. Because I told myself I'm never going back to Hollywood after my first experience. It was just so awful. And I see the transfer and it says Hollywood.
Ta-da!
And I'm like, no, I can't go here. I literally cried.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I can't go to Hollywood. I hate it. Like, I don't want to go. But so I literally contemplated saying, like, I don't want to be a sergeant. Like, just take my name off the list. I'll just stay a P2. Like, I'm fine.
Where'd you live at the time?
Where'd I live? In Laverne.
Okay. So the drive wasn't too bad?
No, it's not bad.
Okay.
I mean, everywhere is far from Laverne, so it's fine. So, I had a long conversation with my ex-husband at the time. Or ex-husband now, husband at the time.
Is it a cop too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how us female cops operate.
Yeah.
We stick with cops,
Yeah.
So
We'll talk about that in a second.
yeah. So we had this long talk about like what's good for the family. He's like, just do it. He's like, you never know. If you don't like it, you can always revert. I said, that's true. So I went to Hollywood and my first DP there, you go from 77th where you're well liked, well respected, and the division inside and out, right, to somewhere where nobody knows you.
As a sergeant,
right? And I'm a female, 8.5 years on the job. That's not very long. Coming from 77th, and Hollywood hates 77th. So that was like a whole feat in itself. And then there was people. So my ex-husband had just left there as a sergeant because he had made sergeant right before me. And they didn't like him there. And the reason I know that from the officers is because 2 of them pulled me aside at my first use of force I had to handle to tell me, your ex-husband was not liked here and you're not going to be liked here either.
That's sergeants or just?
Police officers.
It's P2s?
P2s.
Uh-huh.
Telling me that.
Quite ballsy.
Then to proceed to tell me and make up rumors and say, just so you know, your ex-husband was cheating on you while you were here. And he starts going on about this person that they accuse him of cheating. And I was like, that's funny because I'm actually friends with that person, and every story that you just told me, I already know about that story, and it's all lies. So I said, you've just tried to gossip to me about and ruin my family for the last 20 minutes, and you have a P1 sitting in the car. You need to go do your job and get out of my face. And it's like, really? That was my first taste of Hollywood, the first week there?
Yeah.
And that's how it was. And I left every single day, driving home with tears in my eyes. Like, what am I doing? Why am I at this place?
Yeah.
Like, I could go back to 77th where you don't have this. Like, they're so lazy that you have to come over here to somebody else's use of force to talk to me after it's code 4 instead of doing your job.
Yeah.
That was unheard of. That would never happen at 77th or any busy division.
Morale matters, and Hollywood is known for one of those divisions that the shit talk is beyond belief. And I think it's because Hollywood is busy, but I don't necessarily think it's same style busy as Newton and 77th.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it's a different kind of busy.
Different kind of busy. And I never aspire to work Hollywood. I was like, I never wanted to. I've been there. I've booked bodies there. I think I've maybe been alone for a day or two. I was like, nope. And I know Hollywood very well. I used to be a promoter before I was a cop.
Oh, nice.
I was like, there's no way I'm going to work in this shithole. I would rather work in disgusting, Newton or 77 or Southwest, Figueroa, you name it. Or, not Central. I'm not going to go as far as Central. Okay. But that was the only one.
Yeah,
but
no,
Hollywood,
not.
no. It's just look at the public you're dealing with in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So that by default will create certain type of cops.
Yeah.
And it's gossipy freaking schoolgirl little cops. The cops already are a bunch of schoolgirls. It's a one big high school. But Hollywood is a whole different story. So
it is.
I feel you, girl.
Yeah. It was like what? Where am I right now? And it's like another thing too. It's like the audacity people have. Granted, I know just last week I was a P2, right?
Mm-hmm.
I get it. But I'm a sergeant now, and never in a million years as a P2 would I come up to some sergeant and have the balls to say something like that. So it's like, I was very doubtful about whether I should just revert back, and I stuck it out. And then finally, they put me to watch 7. Which is like my favorite watch. And watch 7's like mid PMs.
Okay.
So it's like 5 p.m. to 3 a.m.
You already made probation as a sergeant?
No, this was only my second DP.
Okay.
My 2 DPs on watch 3, which is morning watch, and then I went to watch 7.
Morning watch cops.
Yeah. And so watch 7, it's always been kind of like a little unit because there's not many people that want to be on a watch, and it's a smaller watch. So as soon as I got to that watch, you had all these eager cops that were like, teach me. How do I get guns? How do I do this? How do I do that? And I was like, whatever you want to know, I will tell you the limited information that I have and experience that I've learned from there. I will give it to you. And so we got to do that. We got to do our own training as a watch. We got to do, we would meet at Hollywood South. That building that's south of the main station is the substation, basically. And we would do foot pursuit training and MACTAC training and just different kinds of trainings for our roll call. It was so fun. So I ended up loving it. Ended up absolutely loving being a sergeant. I'm glad I stuck it out. Well, then 2020 hits, the riots and stuff, the George Floyd stuff.
I already left. That's the year I left.
Oh, yeah. Smart.
Yeah. I dealt with the riots in a different city.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I already went to Santa Monica, so we got hit hard over there.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
It was bad.
You guys were there. Yeah, LAPD rolled in deep. 77 rolled in deep, and so did Newton. It's funny. We ended up gassing my friends from Newton because they were at the park by the station, and we ended up gassing that park. And they all come out, and I'm standing there all geared up. I got my mask on because I knew we were about to gas, so we were prepared. We got masks on, and they come out of there and the wind hit them hard, and they're
God.
The whole squad is just standing there coughing, and they're just coughing. I'm like, "What's up, guys?" They're looking at me it's me. They're like, "Oh, snap, dude."
You're like,
"Thanks."
Sorry,
You're
man. Thanks.
Yeah. It was mixed emotions. Some were like, "Oh, sometimes some cops hate you when you leave. Some cops are like, "Oh man, what's going on, brother? How are you?" I still got a good relationship with some of them, but
nice.
Yeah. So how did it go for you in 2020? Hollywood hit it hard too.
Oh yeah, I mean that was
Hollywood and
home
Wilshire
base.
hit it hard.
Hollywood and Wilshire. It was just those two were hit so hard. So I mean, We were mobilized for 16 days, so no days off.
12 on, 12 off?
Yep, 12 on, 12
Same
off.
here.
Yep. And it was it was long. And, I did the best that I could. Like, you saw, like, a lot of our officers were younger. They're brand new on the job, maybe less than, like, maybe 2 years on, less than 2 years. And they were demoralized. You see them just like, why doesn't command staff have our backs? Like, we don't get to see our families. Just all this. I mean, you know what it was like.
Yeah,
It's all the stuff that these protesters are telling you.
Yeah.
For people that
I
have
remember.
a little bit of time on, like, who have no feelings anymore, we don't care. It's like, okay, oh no, you want me to die?
Even me, I remember, if it wasn't for and people canceled me, unfriended me, whatever, but I did have a good support system. But I already had 5 years on the job going on 5 years on the job, and I got very thick skin. And even me, I was like, damn, man, this shit sucks.
Yeah.
Because it really gets to everywhere you look, news, social media, everybody just bashing and bashing and bashing. I was like, man, fuck, man, I go to work, I deal with this. I go home, I deal with this. I did 17 days in a row of morning watch. That shit gets to you, of eating freaking pizza every day for free, because that was the only thing that was open.
Yeah.
I was like, give me broccoli.
Yeah.
Like, and
something healthy, please.
And just show me something on social media and TV that's not about hating cops.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It was a hard time. So, I did my best to take care of my guys and tell them, like, just remind them, like, you guys, we need to stick together. Ignore all the stuff out here. None of it matters. I did the best. I feel like, I don't want to say they were unaffected, because everybody was affected.
Everybody was affected, yeah.
But we made it good enough for them to be okay and feel like, hey, we're worth it. And I'll never forget this. Our lieutenant, he's a captain now. He pulls me and a couple of the other sergeants aside and says, hey, what do you guys think about, to your point about food, what do you think about running to, like, Ralph's and getting, like, some carne asada or some food and just, like, cook it for them and give them, like, a healthy meal? Like, that's a great idea. We had a little bit of downtime, so we did that. We went to Ralph's, got a bunch of food, and gave them, like, a home-cooked meal.
Yeah.
And they were so grateful. And what happened was, this is actually really funny. During that time, because it was slower. This is like towards the end where things were slowing down.
Yeah.
And during that time, one of the captains, he's out there and he comes back to the station mad. And I guess somebody threw a tomato and it hit him in the face. And he was so pissed that we were sitting here having a meal and not out there preventing that from happening. So I'm like, wait a minute. We've been taking rocks, bottles, piss, feces, all this stuff for 2 weeks, nonstop. And now that there's a lull in the action and we want to get our guys some morality back, some morale back into their, into themselves and as a unit, and feed them appropriately so they're not going to get sick. You're mad at us because somebody threw a tomato and hit you in the face? Everybody leave. We had to leave the station and go out there and do nothing. Literally drive around. We had to go and drive around to make sure people weren't violating curfew. And it was just like, we didn't let the guys see that, right? We just told the guys, like, okay, guys, like, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but we got to get out, But with the sergeants and our lieutenant, we had this little debrief, like, are you joking right now? You never, as a supervisor, you never want to have the guys see that side of it. Mm-hmm. And I always believe this as a supervisor. You're the wall between the command staff and your guys. Mm-hmm. Give it to me. Let me take on this burden, and they need to be supported and know that I have their backs, right? Mm-hmm. So, we went and did that, and that just, like, really stood out to me, where it was like, because you got your feelings hurt and a tomato to your face. That now
should be happy about a tomato, dude. We freaking had, just like you said, rocks, bricks, piss, shit,
firecrackers,
frozen bottle, of whatever.
Like, people, we actually got injured. Like, people got injured, went to the hospital, were IOD because of it. Mm-hmm. It's like, you got a tomato. I'm sorry that happened to you. They made memes about it too. It was very funny. But, so I had also put in to make detective. So then I found out, and this is really funny because I was in Nashville with some friends and my now husband, and I saw the transfer and I was making detective. And remember, in Laverne, Detective 1 at Pacific. I'm like, the farthest division ever, because typically, you know how what transfers were. They try to put you places close to home, right? Nope. They were like, Laverne Pacific. Yeah, that's the one. And I was like, oh, and somebody jokingly was like, who hates you? Because that's like really bad. Because Laverne, they're normal hours. It's not like it's night watch where you can go against traffic.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, like really? I already hate day watch.
Yeah.
I don't like day watch hours. And now you're going to I'm not joking. It took me 2.5 to 3 hours every day to get home.
Jesus Christ.
Every single day.
Pacific, remind me where Pacific is.
It's
at
by
again?
LAX.
Okay.
You have to take 1,482 freeways to get there.
Jesus Christ.
It is insane.
Yeah.
But so I'm there. I find after I do my probation, find out I'm pregnant with my my youngest now with my current husband, and I get an email from IA. So mind you, in this whole time period, I've had from P1 to now, I've virtually had, some complaints here and there, but zero issues. I was Sergeant of the Year as a boot sergeant in Hollywood. Had a great reputation, 77th, no issues. So that's the in between. I get a notification that I need to be interviewed on a complaint from Hollywood. It's like, what complaint is this? So I pull it up and I'm like, oh, this one. Oh yeah, I remember this one. So I set up the interview and I didn't know what lawyer to use because ever since Ira passed away, I was like, I don't know. So I picked a different lawyer that there's not very many to pick from. So I don't want to throw his name out there because I don't want to be a dick.
Sure. So it's up to you.
But because I'm not going to say nice things. I'll be professional, but I'm not going to say nice things. But I picked him.
You say whatever you want to say. you're like me, man. I would have thrown all the names out there.
I know. It's just I don't know. I think that he already has. He knows that he messed up.
Well, I hope he's watching and know that he did a shitty ass job with somebody. But
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I used him and I tell him about the complaint. And what happened was my officers called me it was a Hollywood Hills home. And it was the same person had broken into this house repeatedly. Same person, same house. The owner said they were selling the house. It was the realtor and the owner. And they said, we don't know how she keeps getting in. There's no forced entry. I don't know if she has a garage, the garage code, or I don't know, but she keeps getting in. Anyways, they get there and the officers are like, we just want you here. We're not going to do any charges, but she has a warrant, so we're going to take her back for the warrant. I said, okay, cool. We just want you here because when we were putting her in the car, she said her skirt came up and we don't want her to say like we raped her or something. Okay. So I follow them back to the station. We get there. They park in the booking stalls. They park like along the wall between the fire department and the station. Mm-hmm. I park my shop and I get out and she's still in the car and I'm like, let's go. Let's get her out of the car. Like, we don't want to touch her. Listen to her. She's literally handcuffed by herself in the back of the police car screaming, this is rape, this is rape, this is rape, this is rape. And I'm like, oh God. They're like, we just don't want to go near her because we don't want to get in trouble. So I'm like, okay, let me talk to her. So I talked to her. I said, okay, Miss So-and-so, you're just here for a warrant. I don't know if that's been made clear to you. You're not here for an open charge. You're going to get photographed, fingerprint, and cited and released. Like, you are not going to be here very long. Your warrant's out of whatever city. And she's like, you're lying. They told me a different city. You guys are kidnapping. Like, whatever she said. You're kidnapping me. You're lying. I'm like, no, you're here for a warrant. It's right here on the screen. So I made her explode. So I told the officers, I'm like, you guys were doing a way better job than me. I'm going to take a step back. You guys just tried to talk her out of the car. Mind you, this is January 2021 now. And right after 2020. So it's like there's a lot of things going on. That was Joe Biden's inauguration. So we had specialized units doing operations like undercover stuff. So when I came into work that day, the watch commander told me I was the only sergeant, field sergeant, until Watch 3 came down. So again, I have all this in my head. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. You guys try, in case the use of force happens, I'll be right here. Because if you witness the use of force, you can't take it. And also, I made her lose her mind. So let's de-escalate the situation here. They talk her out of the car, no use of force. We get a female, does a pat down search, and she starts screaming, like, don't touch me, this and that. And she's just losing her mind. So I walk over and I tell her, look, we have to do a pat down search to get you in to the stations for your safety, our safety. We don't want to touch you. Trust me, they don't want to touch you. Just like you don't want to be touched, they don't want to touch you. So she goes in and she's still screaming the whole time, this is rape, this is rape. The watch commander sees her, hears her, asks me what's going on with this chick. So I explain what happened, and he's like, okay, did you, he asked me, should we be taking a complaint for this? And I was like, a complaint for what? And he's like, I don't know, like she's screaming like this is rape and this. I'm like, she's out of her mind. Like, no. And so he tells me, did you watch the body worn video? I'm like, why would I watch the body worn video? I was there. Well, what about the beginning of the stop? No, I didn't watch it. Okay, can you watch it for me? I want to make sure like nothing happened. Okay. I review the body worn video and I tell him nothing happened. Okay. And that was it. So I put in my log that she complained about, she was upset about being touched, whatever, no misconduct occurred. So that was the incident that happened. I get interviewed and he tells me, the investigator, why didn't I take a complaint? Why did I step away?
Did she ask for it? Did she say the C word? Did she ask for it?
No.
Why would you have to take a complaint?
Oh, I'll explain.
Okay.
I'll
okay,
explain why you need to take a complaint.
Okay.
So I tell him no, like, so he asked me, like, what's your understanding of the policy? So I say, well, it says in there, when a crime occurs, you shall take a complaint, right? And he says, well, isn't rape a complaint? I said, or a crime. And I said, yes, rape is a crime. She was not raped. It doesn't say possibility. It says the occurrence of a crime. It doesn't say just in case.
Allegation of
It doesn't
crime.
say an allegation. It doesn't anything like that. The policy says when a crime occurs, like occurs.
Yeah.
So I was standing there. She's screaming, this is rape. And nobody's touching her. Why? I know she's not being raped. I mean, I have to take a complaint for that? So no, I didn't. That's my interpretation of the policy. Well, then he says, well, why did you step away from a potential use of force as a sergeant? To de-escalate the situation because I made her lose her mind and the officers were able to successfully take her out of the car with no use of force. And then he said, and then everything on your log accurate and true? And I look at it, said, yes. Okay, so our interview's done. Oh, at the end of the interview, he says, okay, well, everything's good. He asked me about, did you watch the body worn video? I said, yeah, only because the watch commander told me to. Reviewed it on somebody's phone. And he says, okay, everything's good, except I have this audit trail that shows nobody watched the video that day. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but I remember watching it from somebody's phone. Okay. And that was it. I walk out and I tell my lawyer, why do I get the feeling that he's trying to fire me? And my lawyer tells me, oh, this is a big nothing. No, this is a big nothing. So I don't think it's a big nothing. I get like a bad feeling about this. And I was like, did I do something wrong? Like I asked him and he's like, Sarah, this is a big nothing. Okay. So fast forward, I was 8 weeks pregnant when I did that interview, like bad morning sickness, everything. So I was like, first trimester, and I'm like ready to, okay, I need to go throw up now. Like I'm just not feeling good. Fast forward, I'm now 6 months pregnant. It's February of 2022. And I get called into the captain's office. Well, actually, before that, I knew I was going to get relieved of duty because they passed around a copy of my complaint at Hollywood Station. Somebody before. So there were other officers on that complaint. They got their LOTs before I did. Mm-hmm. So somebody made a copy of it and passed it around the station so people read the whole complaint and knew that I was going to get relieved of duty before I did. So I got a phone call from an officer and was like, hey, are you okay? I was like, yeah, 6 months pregnant, but I'm doing good. What's up? Oh, I just read your LOT. They sustained you for a false statement and misleading log and all this stuff. I think you're going to get fired. And I was like, what? For what? And so he tells me about the complaint. And I was like, for that? What? I didn't lie about anything. He's like, well, it says it right here. I'm like, okay. So a week after that I was told, I get called into the captain's office, and the captain from Hollywood came over to Pacific. And I was sitting there with my Pacific captain and the Hollywood captain. And with a big smile on his face, you're getting relieved of duty. Recommendation, Board of Rights. I'm like, awesome. Gun, badge ID, all over again. Get relieved of duty and sent home. I call my lawyer, and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So they said that this audit trail, because it says that that nobody watched the video, that I lied about watching it. And my log had a misleading statement on it because I didn't put in the explanation of like what happened at the radio call. I just put like the part where she complained about being touched and stuff, that, oh, you were trying to redirect us so we wouldn't know about this, whatever it was. I can't really remember what their rationale was for that. And then sustained for failure to take a complaint, and sustained for failure to maintain command and control in a potential use of force, even though one didn't occur. So now I have 4 allegations, all sustained. 2 of them are termination worthy. And mind you, now I have this 10-day hit for misleading as a P1. So in my write-up, I literally, he writes a rationale about why I should go to a board. And I didn't, again, like you talked about thick skin, I didn't think that I could get my feelings hurt again. But when I read this, it made me seem like I was the worst piece of a human alive. That I have zero integrity, that I don't deserve to wear the badge, that I have no ability to be rehabilitated because this is a pattern of conduct because of that P1 incident. And now that this is happening, that I am a horrible leader. It was so bad. When I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, who is this person? That's me. And then you start to think am I a piece of shit? Oh my gosh, you start to go down that rabbit hole in your own head. And mind you, again, 6 months pregnant. So now my husband and I were in escrow on a house. We had just given up the lease at our condo. And now that I have no more income, I don't qualify. We don't qualify for this house anymore. So we had to move in with my parents while I'm pregnant. And it was probably the hardest year of my life because I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't go get a job. I can't go do security. I have a big giant belly. What am I going to do for money? Literally have no idea what I'm going to do. So thankfully I had a little bit of savings, and I'll never forget this. The officers at Hollywood that worked for me, they gave me a baby shower card and were like, hey, they collected money and gave me $2,000 as a watch, as a division, the officers. And I was just floored. I was like, this means so much to me. You have no idea, because I literally couldn't do anything. And I'll never forget that. And I plan to pay them all back still one day. And, but it meant a lot. And then the same thing at Pacific. They also gave me a baby shower card and collected a bunch of money and gave it to me. And it just was so meaningful because it was hard. And so my lawyer kept telling me oh, we're fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I gave him all these incidents of body-worn video failures. People were calling me while I'm relieved of duty. Hey, just so you know, this happened. Somebody's video is missing. They can't find it. They ended up finding it in an incorrect code. They had to do. Mm-hmm. So there's issues. So I gave him all these incidents. I had a commander at the time tell me, I witnessed a use of force where there was a taser, the Axon taser, 2 prongs in the suspect, and the taser showed it never fired. He was like, these issues happen all the time. So I gave him all that, my lawyer. We get to my board. It got postponed for like a year. So it's like almost 2 years later, the board finally happens. I was my only witness. There was not one piece of evidence about the body-worn video. There was no body-worn video expert. Only the department brought one. I was my only witness to try to defend that I'm not a liar. We go through the whole Board of Rights. I kept asking my lawyer. I wrote down.
What year is that?
That was 2023.
Okay.
It was the end. I think it was 2023 or 2024.
Is the board now still command staff, or it's already civilians?
You can choose.
Okay.
Gosh, I think it might have been 2024. I can't remember right now. Because it had to be, no, it was 2023. Yeah, it was a year and a half because it was February 22, and then my board was June 2023. And you can choose between command staff or civilian. And I picked civilian, which is the recommendation that my lawyer said. And during the board, I would write stuff down. I had a rep too, and she was like kind of the same thing, like, hey, like, when are we going to do this? When are we going to do that? And I'll never forget it. He said, I know what I'm doing. Okay. All right. We get to the end of the board, and the rationale of the board. You have a 3-panel, the chairperson, and then 2 other board members. The chairperson's like the judge. He directs how everything goes. And to be found guilty at a board, it doesn't have to be unanimous. It's just majority, so 2-1. So they come back and unanimously not guilty for misleading on my log. They were like, we fail to see any misleading statements in this log. They found 2-1 vote guilty for not taking a complaint, 2-1 vote guilty for not maintaining command and control, and 2-1 vote guilty of a false statement to IA. And their rationale said that I lied so I wouldn't look bad in not doing my work, because there's no reason why I would have made that up at all. That was what they came up with. And they said, at the time my last name was Dunster, and they said, Sergeant Dunster claims technology issues but failed to show one piece of evidence to support her claim. And I'm like, so one piece of evidence could have changed this whole entire thing. The evidence that I gave to my attorney, pages and pages. I just the other day found my notes that I had sent to my lawyer and told him of all these things to put in that he never did. So I got fired. And I remember hearing it from the chairperson. The chairperson started crying while he's firing me. And I'm like, I looked at my lawyer and I said, why is he crying? And he said, because he doesn't want to fire you. And I was like, well, then why did he fire me if he doesn't want to fire me? He said, there's a lot of pressure from the chief right now. This is what he told me. A lot of pressure, these civilian boards haven't been firing a lot of people. So there's some pressure for them to start firing people. Otherwise, they're going to lose their jobs.
Wow, dude.
And I said, are you serious right now? He's like, yeah. I was like, can we raise that issue? And he's like, no. Like, we can't. I was like, why not? Why can't we raise that issue? Because what I've learned now about these league-appointed attorneys is that their client is not their best interest. The department is. It's like, how are we going to salvage this but not create waves or piss people off? And it's like, and I didn't, I was very naive in thinking like, oh, my lawyer's got my back.
Yeah.
We've got this.
I'm like angry for you right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to smack your attorney in the face.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so then after that, but at the time, I still wasn't like necessarily mad at him. I was just like, well, he did his best. Like, this is me like being very naive. And I thought I was at rock bottom, and I was not at rock bottom. It's like, have you seen Bridesmaids? Have you ever seen that movie where she like tells her mom, remember when back then you thought that was rock bottom? No, this is rock bottom. It's like, I relate to that, where it's like, I felt like, I had already had the baby, and I told myself like, I have a duty to this child. And my other 3 boys, to not be a mess. Like I need to show them that I'm strong, that I'm resilient, that I can't let this like destroy me. But I held a lot in, right? It's like, because you don't want to show anybody your weaknesses, especially your children. And so I said, what's the next step? And he said, we do a writ of mandate. And a writ of mandate is an appeal to administrative decision.
Mm-hmm.
So we do it, we present it to the league because they have to approve the funding so that they can pay for it because it's very expensive. And they did. They approved to fund my writ. And I had people texting me like, this is bullshit. Like, I cannot believe you were fired for this. Like, this is out of control. And because there were, like I said, there was a 2-1 vote. There was the one that said not guilty on everything. He's called the dissenter. And his dissent was phenomenal. He basically said the burden of proof has not been met to show an intent for lying. Because I had nothing to gain from watching the video or not watching the video. And that's kind of what I'm still, like, I don't understand why they think I would make that up. If I watched the video, it made my case for not taking a complaint worse. If I did watch the video, it did nothing. So there's no motivation. They were going to say you had to take a complaint because even though she said the word rape, that should trigger, that's an automatic complaint is what the department decided. In this situation, like common sense, we know she wasn't raped and she didn't accuse a specific person of a rape. It doesn't matter. The department says you shall take a complaint against the officers. So we do a writ of mandate. They approve it. During this time, when I'm fired, there's just a lot of things rubbing me the wrong way with the communication with my attorney, his response to certain things.
That's the same attorney.
Same attorney, because he's the one that petitioned to have the department pay for it, or the league to pay for the writ. And I meet someone. His name's Mario Munoz. He does a nonprofit organization called the Blue Ribbon Foundation, and he helps officers fight to get their jobs back. Usually he tries to get them before the board so he can put on a really good defense. He did 32 years with LAPD. He actually created the settlement unit with Internal Affairs to help officers go through settlement instead of going to boards. Phenomenal, knowledgeable human being. So he said, man, I wish I would have met you before all this, but I'll help you. And he told me, you need to start with firing your lawyer. And he's like, I know it's going to be hard, but you have to represent yourself. And I was like, I don't know about that. Like, I don't even know anything about court. Like, and you know what's gonna happen if I fire him, my lawyer. Like, you know what's gonna happen. Like, it's gonna be like I'm gonna drop a bomb. Like, people are gonna be mad at me. And he's like, well, it's your choice. It's your choice. But that's what, if you're going to lose your writ if you go with him. I said, okay. So I don't fire him and I just continue on. And then I get a notification. Mario tells me, did you know that your count 1 was out of statute? And I was like, nope. He's like, your count 1 failure to take a complaint was completely out of statute. So that shouldn't have, and your lawyer missed that.
Out of statute.
So for from the government code 3303, you have 1 year. The department has 1 year to complete and serve the complaint from the date that the department has been made aware of the misconduct. Anything past that, they cannot impose any discipline. It's out of statute. So, which means it goes away. So he told me that my count 1 was out of statute. And I said, well, how? I'm not a statute expert. I'm not an expert in any of this at this point. So he explains to me that on your log, you put misconduct on there. That was the day that the department became made aware of misconduct. That's your statute date. So I present that to my lawyer. He ignores me. I get an email from his the other lawyer in his firm that was going to take over and do the writ, or that's what she told me. And I asked her about the statute, and she's like, okay, well, let me talk to the other attorney and I'll get back to you. Doesn't get back to me. Does the, sends me what they're going to file, nothing about statute. And then they say, because it was supposed to be in November of 2024 was when the writ was supposed to be. And then it got moved to May of 2025. And I said, why does it keep getting extended? It's now been that will be almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, like something happened where the lawyer didn't get the transcripts. And I'm like, okay. So I did some soul searching. I talked to my husband and he's like, dude, you need to fire him and do it yourself. You can do it. And so I was like, I'm glad other people have faith in me because I don't know how to do this. So I did. I wrote this long letter to the attorney and to the league and emailed it off, firing that attorney and requesting a new lawyer through the league. Well, I got a professional FU from the league, like saying like, well, our contractual obligation is done. Best of luck to you. Thumbs up, I'm like, okay, awesome. I just presented 3 pages of essentially like malpractice on behalf of your best attorney.
Yeah.
And instead of saying like, oh, how can we help you get a new attorney and make this right? The league that I paid into since day one on the job until I was fired, you're just going to wash your hands of me. Cool. And then the attorney responds back and is like, okay, well, basically, okay, yeah, that sucks, but you need to do a substitution of attorney immediately so I don't no longer have you as a responsibility, because until you do that, I'm still your lawyer, and then I'll be sanctioned by the court if I don't have your opening brief turned in. And so what happens is that with a writ, you have to do an opening brief, and then you serve it to the other side, and then they have 30 days to do an opposition brief, and then you have 15 days to do a reply brief. So I had to learn how to do, I didn't know what that was, like how to substitute attorney and stuff. So I called the clerk's office. I tried to go do it myself. It was all wrong. I was panicking like, oh my gosh, like what did I do? I was a mess. And so the clerk says, your lawyer right now has to do it. And I said, okay. So I called the attorney, which was such an awkward conversation. I broke down crying and totally embarrassed myself because I don't like to cry in front of people, but I was just a mess. I mean, it was hard. And he's like, I'll do the substitution of attorney. I'm like, cool. I figure out how to do a continuance and I get that granted. So with the help of Mario, we write an opening brief. We get the opposition brief. During this time, I meet this other lawyer. Her name's Nicole Castronovo. And just randomly through Instagram, she saw my podcast with Marlon. And she's like, hey, I saw that you're representing yourself. Didn't the league fund your writ? And I said, yeah. She's like, can you tell me what happened? And so I was like, yeah. So I talked to her and I told her what happened. And she said, well, she's like, if you want, like you finish up you do your opposition or the reply brief. And if you want, I can pinch hit for you. Because what happens is once that's all in, the judge reviews it and then you go to trial. And then you do your oral arguments in front of the judge and the judge makes his decision that day. The night before, he does what's called a tentative ruling and makes his tentative decision. So I even struggled with that. Like, I don't trust lawyers now. Like, who is this person? Like, why would she want to just like take over at the end? I mean, it's just like one of those things where I trust nobody anymore. It's like, I don't know what the right decision is. I prayed about it. I prayed hard on it. And I said, God is putting this person into my life for a reason. I know what my abilities are and I know what my abilities are not. And arguing in front of a judge about legal stuff I know nothing about isn't way outside of my comfort zone. So I agreed. I said, okay, let's do, after I submitted my last reply brief, I did a substitution of attorney and Nicole showed up in court with me. She argued the case and the judge, mind you, the night before we got a 19-page tentative ruling basically saying, you're going to stay fired and you suck at life. I mean, it was so bad. Like when I tell you, I called Nicole and I was like, okay, so that sucks. I'm going to go get a bottle of wine and just get drunk on the floor and cry. And she's like, no. She's like, saddle up. We ride at dawn. She's like, this is just the beginning. She's like, it's very hard to overturn a tentative. Yes. But we have to get this together so we can make a really good record because we're going to appeal it. I was like, okay, cool. We get to court and already I'm just like, I lost, right, in my head. Nicole gets up there and the judge starts off bad, like, yeah, you suck. And then at the end, the judge like starts to realize like, wait, what happened? So he goes, okay, I'm going to agree that count 1 is time barred. It's out of statute. So he threw out count 1. That's gone. That's not even an allegation anymore. And I was like, oh my gosh. He actually, like, we were right. Mind you, my other lawyer was like, it's not a statute. Whoever's advising you is wrong. So he told me. The judge agreed. It's time barred. Out. So now all we have is the false statement left. And so I'll never forget it, takes his glasses off, puts it down, and he goes, all right, I want to say something here. Can we agree that nothing happened? And everybody, including the city attorney for the department, says, yes, nothing happened. He said, okay, so in the 40 years that I've been doing this, I have never seen this before. I've never seen somebody get fired for a false statement when there is no intent to lie about anything because nothing happened. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like, at that point, I was like, I don't even care what happens anymore. Somebody that matters believed me for once. You know, somebody, not that people don't matter, but like somebody in a position to make a decision about my case believed me, other than the dissenter at the Board of Rights, right? Like that was very vindicating for me. But I was like, oh my gosh. So he said, well, the issue is that you represented yourself and you didn't put this argument in your opening brief. So I'm going to do a favor and I'm going to remand you back to the department for a new Board of Rights to clarify the false statement. And he said, is there any opposition? And the city attorney in court said, there's no opposition. I don't see a point of ruining somebody's life and losing their job over just a mistake. So if there was like an error in memory, I don't understand why we're doing this. There's no opposition. And he agreed. The city attorney representing the department. I walked out of there and Nicole told me, this never happens. Like, this is like a 1% chance of having a tentative overturned. And we just performed a miracle. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was just, I was blown away. So that's what happened in, that was August of 2025. Since then, I have a new scheduled board for March 24th. So next month, to go back and basically fight this one allegation of false statement. So, I mean, there's still, I mean, at this point, I had to be comfortable. And this is, I think, what was such a good lesson for me, because like I said, like I hit rock bottom. I remember dropping to my knees and crying and asking God, like, why? Like, why is this happening? Like, why? Like, I'm living at my parents' house with a brand new baby and my husband, and I can't get a job. I've applied in 4 years to over 100 jobs with 100 rejections. Like, I got my real estate license in between, enough to survive, right? And so it ended up being able to make enough to buy a house. So, we didn't have to stay in my parents' house too long. I love my parents. They're amazing people, but it's hard to live with your parents when you're an adult with a whole family. Yeah. It's hard. So grateful forever to my parents for giving me that opportunity. But, I've had to hustle for 4 years. Hustle. Real estate, security, executive protection. Meeting Nicole has been just a redirection of my life, getting me into doing investigations and surveillance and stuff like that, which has been awesome. And so it's just been like a hard hustle, but I'll never forget just asking God, like, why? And I finally understood why. My time on the job, I stopped going to church, right? Like, I stopped praying. I felt like, I got this, right? I believe in God, of course. I believe I'm faithful, but I got this. I'm strong enough. I can handle this. And I think that God was like, girlfriend, you don't got this. I got this. And he ripped everything away from me, my identity, because I thought that, part of being a cop was part of my identity, right?
It's not your identity.
It's not. And I was very mistaken, obviously. It's like you get into that culture, it's like especially
Toxic
LAPD of like tradition, like we're the best and all this stuff. And, oh no, of course it is. Because at the time you get sucked into that where it's like you care so much about your reputation and Oh my gosh, did I sound okay on the air? Am I going to get, you know what I mean? It's just like everything that you do is criticized, and you want to do, and it's like, for what? Like, why am I trying to be perfect for these people? Like, I will tell you, when I read that LOT about how much of a piece of shit I am, what they don't know is I have 4 boys that love me more than anything. Sorry, I'm going to get all emotional. Because you start to remember that there's more to you than being an LAPD cop. Because those people that wrote it, that's their everything. So they're like, I'm going to write this because she is nothing. And this is what we think of her, and we matter. And then you take a step outside of that and you realize you are everything to certain people. It's like, these little boys look up to me and they're proud of me. You know, it's like, I have a husband who stood by me through all this. Can you imagine living at your in-laws' house and your wife that was making a lot of money, and now it's like, okay, now you have to take care of me and my 3 boys with my ex-husband, and we're gonna stay at my parents' house for a little bit. And I know we had this great life planned, but it's gonna take a detour right now. And he stood by me and never once lost faith in me. And I'll never forget this. And I just told my friend the other day, in the middle of all this, I was doing real estate and she wanted to go buy a property, an investment property. We had this long journey to Barstow because she wanted to get a cheap piece of property. I said, okay, so we're driving. And she goes, hey, do you want to go to church with me? And mind you, I born and raised Catholic. I'm Catholic my whole life. She goes to a Christian church. And coincidentally, she goes to church where my kids went to preschool. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what, Nancy, I would absolutely love to go to church with you. So I went to church with her, just me and her. And I've never been to I had been to a Christian church when I was in high school, but it was just so different. And I wasn't, it was just different. And I go and I sit down, and the message was about the book of Job, about Job's life.
I was just thinking about it, sister.
And I knew a little bit, but as a Catholic, we don't really read and interpret scripture during church, right? Like, I've never read the Bible. I had never read the Bible, just like passages. Mm-hmm. And so I sat there, and I'll never forget it. She grabbed my hand and she like whispered, she's like, I feel like this message is for you. And he just talked about Job's life, how it didn't make sense what happened to him. But it makes sense at the end. His story didn't make sense until the end. And it's so true. And I just felt like, God needed to rip everything about the old me so he can start working. And that moment right there is what transformed my life, because I realized I was trying to do everything myself and I wasn't letting God do it, because you have God-sized problems that only God can handle. And he wanted to bring me back. He's like, you were too far away. I'm going to bring you back in now. Now you're going to do it my way. And it's like, I still struggle, obviously. I mean, as that type A personality, you want to control what you can control as much as you can. And I do think that we have an obligation to control what we can, but with God in mind. And I think that was what was missing for me, is I was doing it from what I wanted, not what God wanted. And literally just yesterday, I had a conversation with somebody about jobs and stuff. And I said, I don't think God wants me to work for anybody but myself. Like, I pray every day. Part of my I pray multiple times a day. And it's always, read my heart and guide me and tell me what my purpose is. What do you want from me? How can I help and serve others? Tell me what I need to do. Show me the path. Because it's how do you know, and this is like, I guess, the question of life. How do you know which way is the right way? How do you know which decision is the right way? Because don't forget, you have God, but you also have the devil. And so, it's like, when you start reading the Bible, anything that has anxiety and fear is not from God. And so it's been able to like discern those two. It's like, which one is the right path and which is the wrong one? If it's for you, God will prepare the way. And if it's not for you, it's going to be but then it comes down to like, well, things were very hard for Job, but God allowed that to happen. So it's kind of it's just an ongoing journey. And I think that's the part of life. But I think that's what God was telling me. It's like, you are too much invested in this job that is not you.
Yep.
Let me work now. And one of my old lieutenants actually sent me a message yesterday. And she said, she was just the best. I loved her. Not a lot of people liked her, but I loved her. She's like one of those salty, she was in the 92 riots, just badass. Julie McAlpine.
No, never had the pleasure.
The best. Oh my gosh. And she sent me a message yesterday and she said, because she told me like, you did a great job with your officers and stuff. And, they looked up to you and you did a great job. And she told me, what you're doing now, you're making a difference in more people's lives that have gone through complaints and gone through this than you would have done as a den sergeant. And I said, you're absolutely right. It's that little picture that I saw, like, oh, I can help these guys. And now I'm in a position to help other people, because ever since telling my story the first time with Marlon, I've talked to over 50 people about their stories and their depression and what they've gone through. And I've been able to help them, give them tools or put them in connection with people to get jobs, what jobs that I can't get, but they can get, because there's certain jobs that you have to be single and not have a million kids, doing executive protection where you have to travel for a long time. And so it's been like, there's a bigger picture here. And, it's crazy to say, like, I'm grateful that I was fired. And I never thought I would say that. I've slowly been able to get rid of that animosity, even for the investigator.
Yeah.
Because what he did was wrong. I found out a lot about him. He's fired something like 28 people for false statement because he knows how to withhold stuff and trap people, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of animosity in my heart.
That's the hard part. Letting go.
It is so hard.
It's a hard part.
It ruined my life. So I thought, it's like, for what? You ruined me, and those years were so hard. I can't even begin to tell you how bad they were. But I still carried on. I work out with one of my best friends every day. We work out in the garage. And do CrossFit like idiots because we're in our 40s and always hurt, but we still work out every day. And she tells me all the time, she's like, I don't know how you're still functioning, Sarah. She's like, I would have she's like, I probably would have killed myself, to be honest with you. I don't know how you're still doing it. And I'm like, it's not me. It's God. I've learned the hard way that I can't do it myself. And it is not me. It is all God, because he pushes you. It's like, it gives you that, a little bit of stuff to remind you, like, no. Let's not go through that again, and put you back on that right path. So it's just been a journey. This whole thing has been a journey. And after going to church, the next thing I did was the carnivore diet. I do very well with structure. And it was we did the lion diet, and I don't know if you've heard of that.
No.
If you look up the liondiet.com, it's Michaela Peterson.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
She does it.
She cured herself through that. Yeah. And Jordan does that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The lion diet is like the strict version of carnivore.
Yeah.
So it's just red meat, salt and pepper, and water.
Yeah.
And you can cook with animal fat or butter.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all you eat. And so I did that for 30 days.
I wouldn't mind. I love.
Oh yeah, no. I
love my meat.
It's hard at first because you're
Craving.
Well, number one, you get really dehydrated, so you have to have electrolytes because all you're having is protein and fat.
Yeah.
So you need to definitely hydrate with electrolytes. But 30 days of it, and I felt like a new person.
Really?
I was my head was clear. So I continued on carnivore for 2 years. I just recently started introducing new foods again to be normal, because it does get hard.
To be normal. I'm trying to be normal.
I know.
It's
It's it's hard because what happens is with my crazy schedule of like having to go work security random hours and days. And I can't ever say no to a detail. If something's offered, I always say yes. Like, just give it to me. I'll make it work. I'm in law school right now. So I decided, I was like, I'm going to go to law school and I'm going to become a lawyer because I want to help other people not go through this. Because, like I said, I mentioned before, I don't like lawyers. And Nicole was the first lawyer that I liked, because Nicole was the kind of lawyer that cares just as much as you do, if not more. And my experience has been, the lawyers think of you like down here, like they don't care. Nicole is the only person that cares as much as you do. And I was like, I want to be like that. Like, I want to be able to be there and help people and actually care about them. Because I think what people forget is like, you're not just a number, you're an actual human being with a family and friends.
Yeah.
You matter. And it's like your incompetence or laziness can be so detrimental. Like, thank God that I was strong enough and I had my faith in a good support system, because some people don't make it out of that. Some people take their lives. And it's like, without my kids and family, I mean, who knows what would have happened. But people don't realize how much of an impact this has on them. And I think that was a big realization for me, is like, that stuff doesn't matter. You being a cop means absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. What matters are your children, your family, and your faith. That's what matters. You have a job now as a parent to mold these children to be good, faithful human beings that'll be productive and kind in this world. And what does that matter in being a cop, other than putting food on the table, getting a paycheck and putting food on the table? What does their opinion about me matter? This same captain that was smiling, giving me my Board of Rights papers while I'm 6 months pregnant, has a shadow box of COVID. He has a thermometer in his shadow box on his wall in his captain's office, because he's so proud of COVID that he got vaccinated and took a thermometer and took it seriously. Like, stupid. You want to tell me that your opinion about me matters? At the time, it did, right? It's like, oh my gosh, what am I reading? And then you take a step out of LAPD or out of police work in general, and it's like, oh, so this is what life is like.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I can't even imagine where my life would be right now if I was still on the job. I get to be a team mom for 2 baseball teams. I get to be at every event. I don't never miss anything. I get to make my hours, work on my time. It's just, I could never do that still being on the job. And who knows how far down that hole I would go with the toxicity from LAPD.
Oh, it takes you deep.
Like, how bad is your mentality when you're there? It's just,
it's horrible.
Yeah, you fall into the, I don't know. You look
drink the Kool-Aid.
Yes, you drink the Kool-Aid.
See, this whole saying, you become the average of 5 people you hang out with. It could not be further from the truth. Yeah. Because especially if you're like me, I used to work crazy overtime hours, right? I was the overtime whore, and I would work the 40 plus at least another 20, 30, maybe even another 40. And it's when you're constantly around the same people who gossip about the same things, who talk smack about the same things, who make fun of other people's expense, who spread rumors, turn people against each other, complain, nag, whine, bitch, cry. You become like that. And the saddest part is that you don't even notice. You become just like them.
Yep. And
it took me to get injured, to go out, and to really separate myself from everything, from the job, because it's just a job. It's a noble profession, but it's just a job. It's a business. To be like, that's one big, toxic, never-ending high school, and I don't want to be part of it. And it changes you. It consumes you. It eats you alive. And before you know it, it's too late. Divorce, alcoholism, domestic violence, suicide,
Mm-hmm.
for a reason.
Yeah.
And to me, it was God first sent me the right woman who told herself that she would never gonna marry a cop because her mom was a cop.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and her mother, and with all due respect to my mother-in-law, right? I think she is a very big example of what the job can do to a person. I don't think she's a bad person,
Mm-hmm.
but I could tell right away because we've seen these people. The job changes you,
Yeah.
and these habits become embedded in your DNA, and you just don't know any better. You know, I was at my church at a sermon a couple of weeks ago, and the message of the day was the 7 things that God hates that you do.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what part of what chapter it was, but it's the 7 things, and it's like lying, false testimony in court, gossiping,
Mm-hmm.
complaining, and the worst one is obviously turning brothers against each other, like
Yeah.
turning people against. And I'm like going down that list, and I was like, that's an everyday occurrence, whether it was LAPD or Santa Monica. That's an everyday occurrence, and I've done most of this myself.
Yeah.
I will be the first person to tell you. Okay,
Yeah.
so first of all, I don't know if you know my background. I'm Russian, right? We have very
Mhm.
thick skin,
Mm-hmm.
so shit talk is no bother.
Yeah.
I used to take pride on talking shit to people. Like, you will not defeat me in smack talk. I will bury you alive. Like, I'll take everything you got, and I will multiply times 10, and I will destroy you.
Yeah.
You know, and that was to be me. Like, you can't defeat me. And looking back at it now, I'm like, man, I hurt people.
Yeah.
My mouth hurt people,
Mm-hmm.
people's feelings, people's egos, which I don't care about the ego, but I've legitimately hurt people.
Yeah.
I've legitimately said things to bring reaction out of people, said things so that they try to confront me, hoping they would confront me and I'll bury them verbally or physically.
Yeah.
And that's horrible. I was that guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's the Lord talking to me right there. And I was like, there's nothing to be taking pride in that.
Yeah.
And I've done it for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, that was horrible. Because this right here has the power of give life and to destroy.
Yes.
And I would destroy people for years.
Yeah.
And I did it with my own family as well.
Yeah. Well, they talked about kind of similar message a couple weeks ago about that at church. And it was, he said, whoever made up that saying, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you, is a complete liar.
Yeah, that's definitely
Because he changed it, and he went on to say, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words can leave lifelong trauma on somebody's life. And it is so true, because once you say something, you can never take that back. And you don't realize how much your words mean. And it's so true, because that was part of the service, was be a better listener than you are a speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Open your ears before you open your mouth. Because we live from police work to the society that we live in, we're so reactive. It's like you hear something and you're like, oh, I feel blah, 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 blah. And then you find out, oh, that was just AI. Or, oh, that wasn't true.
That now.
Right. And it's just, you have all these things where you're hearing one story and you're getting worked up. And then, oh, that, there's another side to that story. Oh. And once you spit out what you think, you can't take that back. And it's so important to slow down, process it. It's not our place to judge people. It's not our place to give a punishment. It's God's place.
Explain it to cops.
Yeah.
I still battle with that. First of all, before I forget, I would like to point out a couple of things. Number one, I think I am so happy that you realize that your worth is not in what the department paper says, but in what your children sees you as the person, as a mother, your husband. And don't forget that gesture, like the act of random kindness, I call it the ARC, that they did for you in Hollywood and Pacific Division, that gifted a baby shower card. That is a true testament of what your value and worth is as a person. That.
Yeah.
Not the paper, not the captain, not your coworkers, the people who genuinely went out of the way to do something good for you.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah, it does.
Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And then number two, I'm getting emotional talking about that to you right now. I'm also so, as you were telling me the story, I was thinking about the book of Job, like I said. But the fact that all that trouble and everything you've gone through has brought you closer to God is absolutely fascinating,
Mm-hmm.
because I've done it myself. We tend to deviate, right? We get on our feet, we get the job, we get established, and like, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
It took me becoming a father to realize that I didn't got nothing, nothing.
Yep.
And I would never be able to do what I do without him. And
Mm-hmm.
I tried and I tried and I tried and I failed every single time. And so I'm so happy that you found faith in the Lord and you strengthened your relationship with him. And that, because I truly believe that what happened to you had to happen for a reason.
Yeah.
The hard way,
Mm-hmm.
for a reason. I think you're going to do a wonderful, wonderful job doing whatever it is you're doing, whether it's representing people as an attorney, because you will do it with passion and with care.
Mm-hmm.
And what you have in your heart to care, to serve people, is what the Lord wants you to do. Because on the way here, I was telling you, I don't know if I told you, I was praying, because the
Yeah.
only time I pray is usually right now is when I'm driving in the car.
Yes.
And I prayed. I prayed over us. Uh, I usually pray, say, hey, Lord, use my abilities, my gifts, because He gave me certain gifts that I always tell Him, hey, what you gave me, use it to serve others, right? Because it's not mine. And I'm like, well, the Lord, I want to hear her story. I want her to share her story so we can serve others and our viewers, and help me help her serve others. Because there's going to be one person
Yeah.
who's going to watch this, at least one, I guarantee you, is going to be like, man, she is brave. She's done all that. Because you went through a lot, and it will impact their life. And I
Yeah.
am by far no one on the podcasting scale. But even me, I had people who reach out to me privately, say, like, hey, man, that episode changed my life. And I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. Like, I'm a nobody. But that changed their life.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. I mean, because it is God's work. I mean, I think that is like the most important thing. And like I said before, you have this plan, make your plans, but put God first.
mm-hmm.
If you don't have God in the plan, it's not going to be successful, right? It's you put God first, and now you have an ability to share God's message through you and through others. And I think that's such a important point. And that's what I pray about, like we said, every single day. Give me the words, give me the ability, show me the path. What do I need to do to make an impact in others' lives? That's what it's about. It's about community and service to each other, loving your brothers and sisters, getting people to turn to God and go instead of trying to handle it themselves. And what better person than someone that's been through it?
Yeah.
When we get that realization, like you said, becoming a father, and you realize, I can't do this by myself.
There's no way.
Oh no. It changes your life when you become a parent. Seeing your child for the first time, and man, and then after you have your first and you have your second, I remember thinking, God, how am I going to love another child as much as I love
I
this
talked to
child?
my wife about it already.
Right? It's
Yeah.
like you don't
Yeah.
know. And then I had two at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was like, how am I going to love two babies as much as I love this kid? Because I love this kid more than anything. I can't even, it's unfathomable how much I love this child. How am I going to love these two as much as him? And then you have your babies or baby, and it's like they were always there. And you love them all the same. It's like they've always been here. It's such a very surreal feeling.
Yeah.
And then when I had my fourth, I was like, same, you still go through that, right? It's like I have these three boys. Now I'm going to have a son that's not going to be their full brother. It's going to be a half brother. Like, how is that going to work? And it's like he's always been there. Same thing. And these boys don't look at each other as like half brothers. They look at each other as brothers. And there's the love that I see between them and the love that I have for them. It's just something that you can only understand as a parent, right? How much you love your kids. And I will say I'm very grateful. My ex-husband and I get along very well. In fact, his wife and I took my oldest son to see Brandon Lake and Phil Wickham in LA. We went on a little like mom and stepmom date with the oldest.
That's pretty
So
cool.
we get along very well. So our kids don't understand. They do, but they don't. They think we're all family.
Yeah.
Because my ex-husband and his wife had a little baby, and my son thinks that their son is his brother.
Yeah.
He's like, I love Stetson so much. Stetson's my brother. Like they don't understand that concept of like step and anything like that, and half brothers. So it's just, I told my ex-husband, my oldest son is, he's struggling a little bit at school with a little bit of bullying and stuff. And obviously like Mama Bear sticks it, and I just want to go like do some damage. But, I got to put my mom hat on and my faithful hat on, and not give him bad advice to just go beat the shit out of people. Because he does jujitsu. We have all our kids in jujitsu, so they know how to defend themselves and stuff like that. But this is just verbal stuff. And I had this talk with him last week, and I said, because I was literally getting ready to tell him, you know what, Cole, kind of what we just talked about. I said, this is what I was going to tell my 10-year-old son. Don't judge me. I said, why don't you just like talk shit to them and get him to hit you? And then you can just jujitsu him and take him down, and and then he'll never touch you again. Show him why he shouldn't touch you. That was my amazing.
That's fair. I would give that advice.
Right. That was like my parental advice.
Before my wife would step in.
Yeah. Right. So I didn't tell him that. I asked him, so tell me about school. Like, what's going on with these kids? And he tells me, this is going to probably make me cry. He goes, Mom, these kids are really mean to me. They make me feel really bad a lot. But you know what? I'm kind to them anyways, because that's what Jesus would want. And one of them asked me for help on math because he doesn't understand how to do remainders. And I showed him, and now they call me the remainder guy because I'm so good at math. So Mom, don't worry about me. I'm going to act like Jesus would, and I'm going to be kind to everybody. And I'm just not going to let them bother me anymore. And I literally had to not look at him, and I was like, I'm going to cry. And I told him, I was like, you know what, Cole, you're a better person than your mom is.
Wow.
I'm very proud of you because you know how important it is to be a kind person and to follow Jesus's path. And maybe I needed that reminder. Right?
Both of us.
So I told his dad, I said, well, I think we're doing something right with him. Because here was ghetto mom going to go and tell him to go do some damage on a kid. And he's like, no, Mom, slow down.
Wow.
Let's be more like Jesus. And I said, you know what, kiddo? You're 100% right. And I told him how proud I was. So I think that if they see everything you do, these children mimic you. We go to church every Sunday. We all pray together every night before we eat meals. And they're at an older age. My twins are 8, where they know now that I was fired. And we talk about it all the time. And I asked them, I was like, do you want Mommy to get her job back? And they were like, no way. We don't want you to. We're like, we know you didn't do anything wrong, Mom, but we love you here. And it's that's what matters, right? It's that's what matters. Maybe this was also part of the plan. My son was getting bullied for the last 2 years. And what if I was at work and just ignoring that? I get to be here and notice the signs and be able to intervene. And now he's at a point where he gets to give me advice. Wow. It's well, I was going to tell you to go do something bad, but I'm glad we see it differently. Yeah. So I do feel like the relationship that we have as exes and our families have really made an impactful change on our kids, because they don't act, even teachers have told us, your kids don't act like divorced kids. And I'm like, what's a divorced kid act like? They're like, not like your kids.
The bullies?
Yeah. It's like the bullies. And your kids are so sweet. And I'm like, the teachers tell us this. I'm like, thank you. They're not sweet for us at home because they just fight and wrestle all day, but, because it's boys. Yeah. The energy in the house is through the roof. But it's been good. I mean, there's just going to church every time I go, it's always the message you need to hear, right? It's talks about the times that you go through, why you go through them. But the message is always, what can you do to serve others? How are you going to take this and go serve others? And your children are the best vessels, right? These are the vessels that are going to be the next generation that need to be Jesus-like and continue on. You can't raise kids to be little jerks and go the opposite direction. So this is all part of the plan, and it's God's plan. It's funny because have you seen that movie David, that cartoon movie?
No.
It was Phil Wickham is like the voice of David and Goliath story. It's a cartoon, and my kids ask me every day to watch it. Like, can we watch David again? Can we watch David again? And because I always tell them before that we saw that movie, I said, when they ask about like my job and stuff, I say, mommy's like David and Goliath. LAPD's Goliath and mom's David. I always like joke around about it. And so they watch the movie and they're like, Mom, you are like David and LAPD is like the monster. I was like, yeah, it is. But it's true. I sat here and I faced this big giant of representing myself, of fighting for my job to clear my name and all this stuff. And once I finally put it into God's hands and said, hey, you take over. You just tell me what I need to do. Use me. And if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. Even the other day, I after winning my writ and going back, and the department was pushing back and saying, you can't have any witnesses, you can't have any this, any that, just making this big deal. I'm like, they really want to keep me fired. They don't want me to have a fair shot at this, at a second chance. And I asked God, I said, why did you bring me this far if I can't do anything with it? I'm going to go to a board and I don't get to present anything. So they get to just decide if my statement was intentional or not. Why are we here? Like, why did you bring me this far? And that day, we got an email from the board saying they're going to allow evidence in. And I was like, wow. Usually you don't get that like answer right away from God, but he was like, okay, here you go. Here's your answer. And I just keep reminding myself, I can only do so much. You can only do what you can do, and the rest is in God's hands. So I'm at a point where, all of this has brought me to this point. And this is still ongoing journey, ongoing battle with the department. But I've gotten to a point where no matter what happens, I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. If I lose, then I lose. If I win, then I win. No matter what, I'm going to be fine. Because like we said, that result and that opinion doesn't show your worth. No, we don't even earn our worth. It was given to us by Jesus' sacrifice.
Yeah.
So what does this matter? So that's where I've gotten from all of that. I've gotten to a place where I am okay because God's on my side. And it's taken a lot. It's taken a long journey. It's been a hard 4 years. Very, very hard. But I look back like, wow, 1 year ago, where was I? 1 year ago, I was firing my attorney and thought my life was over. I caused all these problems with the league. I got these emails and text messages and people making phone calls about me to other people and questioning my whole life and all my choices. And 1 year later, I'm going back for another board next month. I'm in law school. 4 amazing kids, doing real estate, starting a podcast. What else can I ask for? Nothing. I ask for nothing, just to continue to do God's work. And I think that's a huge message that I think that a lot of people need to see, that when they're going through the storm, it's like it is hard, but you need to search for the light. Drop down to your knees and pray, and God will answer you. He's not going to leave you. So that's what all this has led me to. And that's just the last you know, 4 years.
So a lot has happened in
Yeah.
4 years.
hmm But it's been good. I mean, I do think being able to be, my husband always jokes this. He goes, "You have this knack of attracting broken people." And it's so true. I always tell him, like, "Oh, I met this person." And he laughs because I call everybody my friend. I'm like, "Oh, my friend, this person." And he's like, "The solar panel guy that we met once, that's your friend?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, he just texted me, like, "Hey, like, there's a great deal, whatever." He's like, "Yeah, okay, it's an acquaintance, Sarah." I'm
Yeah.
like, "No, everybody's my friend."
Yeah,
But he's
Jesus
like,
had the same thing.
"Huh,
Jesus attracted broken people.
yeah." And I said, because it's funny, those people that I meet, it's never just like when I meet them for the first time, I always hear their life story.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is, but like the solar guy, he was a fired Ontario cop and shared his story about how he was terminated falsely and he was going through a divorce. He had 2 kids. And he said, "I sat there, I recorded myself and said goodbye to my kids. And I sat there and I had the gun in my mouth and I was going to end my life. And I heard my son say, 'Daddy.' And I stopped and I put it away. And that moment changed my life forever." And he's like, "I turned my life to God. And ever since that moment, my life has gotten exponentially better by giving it all to God." He's now married, remarried, and pregnant with their child.
Mm.
And I saw him in church recently. And I said, "You see, that's why I say he's my friend."
Yeah.
Because for some reason he felt okay to tell me his story. And it was very impactful to me also, right? I mean, going through, so I will say, like, I had never crossed my mind to kill myself. That's never been like a thing in my head ever. It's just never been an option. But when you hear it from other people that have suffered through that and how bad it must have gotten for them and how alone they felt, it's like, that's why I say I was lucky. Like, I didn't have that bad of a time, but some people do. But I have this knack for attracting people that instantly tell me what their story is or what's wrong. And I'm a fixer. I'm like, okay, so what can I do to help you? What can I do to like make this better? And there's some people where my husband's like, they're sucking the life out of you, Sarah. Like, you need to stop. And I always say, like, how can I abandon somebody in their time of need? How can I just step away from somebody that's depressed or at rock bottom? That's not, yeah, it might be hard on me, but just pray about it and let God give me the right words and give them the right resources. And so it is funny. Like, I do have this knack of finding the broken people, but I do feel like I always leave them better than I found them. And whether or not that lasts forever, it's, I can only do what I can do because we have free will. But I am grateful that God has put me on this path to connect with people like this, because I could not talk about this stuff if I was still on the job.
No.
Can you imagine?
Bro. Honestly, I suck with names. I'm very good with faces.
Yeah.
And I know our paths have crossed before.
Yeah.
Especially if we, work in neighboring divisions for the 2 years whatever span that I was in the area.
Yeah.
If you would have told me back then, the gun-ho LAPD probationer, right, that wanted to hook and book and get guns off the streets, back then that I would be sitting here talking about God to you, and if someone told you you'd be sitting here talking
Yeah.
about God to me, bro.
No.
So I guarantee you our paths have crossed back then, and then fast forward almost 10 years soon, here we are talking about God.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just talking about faith to people is hard. Talking to cops or military about God, and I don't blame them anymore because look at what we see.
Yeah.
What do we see on the job? We see pain, suffering, sorrow, tears, evil.
Mm-hmm. Evil.
Evil.
Big one.
Every single day. And I've looked at people's eyes and I've seen evil in their eyes before. And
Yeah.
I've seen death. I've seen life leave people's bodies, their souls leave their bodies. And it takes a toll on you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it irritates me to the core. And I always say that these departments, right? Some are better than others. But LAPD still sucks at it. Fantastic training, this and that, and tactics, and Archon, and shooting, or shooting debatable.
Yeah.
I'm still a shooter, and
Yeah.
I train, and I'm like, dude, whatever LAPD teaches back then,
Yeah.
a lot of it's crap.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, there's no training on how to stay sane,
Mm-hmm.
how to deal with your trauma,
Yeah.
how to cope with it, how to process what you see, how to heal yourself.
Yeah.
There's resources, thank God. I tell some cops, like, hey man, this department pays for your sessions every year. Go take advantage of it. I literally just tell one of my classmates who made a sergeant, and she's like, I'm alone. I'm a new sergeant. I'm alone, and I'm just surrounded by disgruntled who wants to be a retired sergeants who always talk smack, and I can't stand it. And I'm
Yeah.
dealing with this and divorce and that. I'm like, call. And she did. She texted me the other day, she's like, thank you so much, Alex, I scheduled the appointment. I'm like, do it. Use the resources. But it's because people have to understand that at the end of the day, you're just a 5-digit number. Maybe 4 digits, maybe a different department like Santa Monica, but LAPD is 5 digits. Mine was started with a 4 and a 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all you are.
Yeah.
And now that I'm a business owner, LAPD is nothing but a business. It's one big, gigantic business machine.
Yeah.
The problem is it sucks. It's a sucky ass business too.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you right now, if it's one thing if it was like a well-oiled machine,
Right.
but it's a sucky ass machine, dude, and it's like crumbling.
Yes.
And what's happening to LAPD right now, I foresaw it back then because when I joined the department, I was in my late 20s, like 27. I was like, before I left, I was like, mark my words, this is gonna happen 5 years down the road. 5 years down the road past, what's happening to the PD right now, I foresaw it. Back then, people talk smack. You don't know what I'm talking about. You have 5 years on a job. What do you know?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know nothing, but I'm getting the hell out of there.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it now, like I called it, and it's just, it's pathetic. And people need to understand that at the end of the day, whether it's firefighters, same shit, right? I had my friend Maddie sitting here, retired firefighter, right? Still dealing with PTSD, tried to kill himself multiple times. Second time his wife yanked the gun out of his head. And he's the one who actually connected with me and invited me to the church, which changed my life and how I found God. But right there, he was sitting and telling me about his story. And same thing. Anywhere you put a bunch of alpha people together, it's going to become a toxic environment.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say anywhere because there's special forces, all that. But even though I talked to some of those guys, they're like, yeah, man, it's a bunch of fucking, excuse my language, I'm trying not to cuss.
No, yeah.
Bunch of like alpha male, pride and ego people. I was like, yeah, they need Jesus too.
Yeah. It's
Everybody
true.
needs Jesus.
I think that the issue is that it's such a stigma with law enforcement or these entities, the military and firefighters, that I don't need to go to counseling. Why do I? Then they're going to say I'm crazy, and then they're going to take my gun, and then I'm going to lose my job. I mean, that's the rabbit hole, right? That's what you go through. But why do people think that? Because it happens, right? God forbid you go and get help. And then it's like, oh, they're going to BSS. Ooh, there's something not right with them. When that person that's talking shit, you need BSS more than anybody else.
Yeah.
Like, shut up,
No, I
Try not
agree.
to cuss also. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, man. I'm struggling
It's
with that.
hard. I know.
There's certain things that, the Lord helped me with. Like, I had a 22-year-old porn addiction.
Yeah.
I tried to quit multiple times. Again and again, I failed. But one
Yeah.
time I prayed, and
Gone.
but now I'm still the language is challenging for me.
So hard.
Cynicism and being judgmental, that's challenging for me. That's
Yeah.
decades of just being me and being a cop, dude. Like I can't help but
It's hard.
catching spiritual warfare is real.
It is.
It's almost like an autopilot. And then lust for men, it's a big one. It's all men struggle. Well, most men struggle with it. I'll be the first one to admit it. It's like when I start tracking the curse words, the lustful looks, the judgmental thoughts, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm just gonna be like this all day.
I know.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear. I don't want to look. I don't want to think.
Yeah.
But it's hard. And just yesterday, I posted a video. That, how some guys say, I like a woman who's a challenge. Are you retarded?
Yeah.
You need a woman who's peace, not challenge. Like, you want a challenge? Go watch your nutrition. Go fast. Don't cuss. Don't be judgmental.
Yes.
Don't look at ass.
Yes.
That's a challenge.
Yes.
A woman who's a challenge is not a challenge. That's a suicide, dude.
Yes.
You know, find a peaceful woman who's not gonna drive you crazy, who'll make you want to go home.
Yeah.
Cause you know, remember those cops? You know, come home. Oh man, I was IUD for a month. I had to cut it short, but I couldn't stand being home with my wife.
Yes, all the
I was
time.
like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, wow,
why are
you
you
got issues.
Yes. It's
You need
like,
to
what
work
kind of
on it.
marriage is this? Like,
Go to church.
yes.
Go see a therapist.
I know. It is that. I mean, that was common though. It was just, well, I want to come back to work because I can't see my codex when I'm off. I had partners that would tell me, if I die, throw my burner phone away. Here's a combo to my locker. Get rid of this.
Jesus Christ, man.
I had partners tell me that. I'm like, no, I'm not doing your dirty work for you.
No.
So if you die tonight, maybe before you die, maybe get rid of your shit. You know, it's like, get rid of that stuff. See, I can't even help it with the cussing. It is
tough.
hard. It is really hard because
tough.
some things like you need emphasis on.
Yeah, I feel like it adds color, dude. It adds color.
Yes.
You know? And
It paints a picture.
My wife is on my butt about it, man. And I have a daughter. She's like, you can't say this. She's watching you. She's hearing you. And I was like, babe, I need to add some color to. I can't say shit. She's like, no. I'm like, what do you mean? You know, she's so much better than me, and it's funny because she was raised Catholic like you.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I brought her to church, because I went to church by myself first.
Yeah.
And I think a second or third time I brought her, and she just sat there like this on the bench. She wouldn't stand up.
Yeah.
You know, but she had issues. She was raised Catholic, but then her thing was, the people who preach about God were the worst people.
Yeah.
And that's why she didn't have faith in that.
Yeah.
She's like, there's always these people who preach about God, but go out there, gossip, and do evil things.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her.
Yes.
I don't blame her. You know, that's why I personally have problem with Catholicism.
Yeah.
Not people who practice it, but I have a problem with Vatican and Catholicism and all that stuff. I admit it. And yeah, but eventually now she like surpassed me in the spirit and in the Word of God. And she's like, well, look at this. Read this. Like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you know. And she always hits me like, whoa, what would the Jesus do? Do you think Jesus is proud of you? I was like, oh, girl, I can't argue with her. You know, girl, you're right.
You can't bring Jesus into this.
Yeah, you can't always bring Jesus into this, like, yeah. But
it's so good though. I mean, what better influence to have?
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're never gonna be like Jesus, right? We're never gonna be Jesus.
Never.
There's no one like him.
No.
He's perfect.
It's perfect.
We have original sin. We were born with sin. Like that's why God gave us free will. Things are going to go bad. Things are going to tempt us. But what does it say about a person that can remain faithful and still believe in God after seeing all the stuff that we've seen, after been through all the things that we've been through? There was, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. I was going to say something about, church and tying that in. There's something from the service this past weekend, but just talking about trying to be, it'll come back. It was just trying to be.
Like, you know, are you referring to, well, when my time comes, I'm hoping that when I meet God and he just tells me, good job, my little faithful son.
Yes. It was something along those lines, but you know, it's just, we're never going to be Jesus.
No.
We have free will to make these decisions, and we stay true to our faith. I mean, that says a lot about who we are, especially as cops. I mean, the stuff that we see in military and fire, we see, like you said, so much evil, and being able to always put Jesus first. Oh, this is what I was going to say. You know, you're doing a good job. There's a difference between when you say a bad word or you just sin and have no conscience about it versus being aware of your sin, of saying, oh, I said a bad word and I want to be better. Or like this morning, I yelled at my son because he never ties his shoes. And me and his dad have spent so much money on shoes because they break the shoelaces, they thrash them and don't tie. It's just a mess. This morning he says, oh, I'm going to need new shoes. He destroyed them. They're brand new shoes. Destroyed them already. And I told him, I said, Walker, how many times I yelled at him over a pair of shoes? He's a kid. He's 8 years old. And I instantly said, I'm so sorry, Walker. It's fine. We'll get you a new pair of shoes. And I asked for God for forgiveness right there on the spot. I said, I'm so sorry. I lost my temper. You know, it's a lot in the morning. Getting 4 boys out the door by 6:55. I mean,
I can't imagine that.
it's a lot. 4 lunches, 2 different schools, get all the stuff ready. It's a lot. And I lost my temper, but it's being conscious of your sin and asking God to fix that versus not having a conscious, sinning and moving on like nothing matters. There's the difference there. We have the conscience of, I said a bad word and I would like to be better. You strive to be more Christ-like instead of just, well, you know, there's, you know, it's not a big deal. There's so much sin in the world. I'm not doing as bad as that person, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing better than that person. It's not about comparison. It's about what are you aware of? And what are you okay with? What standard do you have for yourself? My standard is to be as close to Christ as possible, not as far as possible. We're going to make mistakes and fall along the way, of course. Every day, even though you're aware of it.
Every day.
Every single day. Just right now, we've cussed how many times and we didn't mean to or want to.
Yeah, but if you're compared to some other episodes, and I remember I had, you know who Hector Bravo is?
Yes.
So I had Hector here. Hector's mouth is like, oh my God. And I told him in the middle of the episode, because as we're talking, I love the guy.
Yeah.
I had a great episode with him. I love the guy. Hector, if you're watching, don't be talking shit. And I'm like, Hector, like, stop, man. Like, 'cause I started cussing too in the episode. Like, man, because you cussing, I'm cussing
Yeah,
now. Like,
it
I'm
feeds
trying
it.
not to cuss, man.
It feeds it.
But he's just so colorful, you know, it's part of his persona. I'm like, no, I gotta do better. I gotta do better. And I watch his stuff all the time. I love the guy, but I was like, man, but it's a person's character. But
Yeah.
you know, it's like you said, it's being mindful. It's being mindful.
I think it also matters in what context, right? It's like if we're cussing at people, like F you, F that, and it's different than using it for emphasis. I mean, granted, Jesus would say, let's just refrain altogether, right? What comes out of your mouth matters. But it's just that ongoing journey, and it's that conscious reminder. We're not just blindly saying bad words and not I was before, like we said. In the past, it was like, if you didn't cuss, what was wrong with you? You know, with being a cop. If you didn't have these bad thoughts or talk shit, what was wrong with you?
I don't know how to. In the beginning, I didn't know how to communicate without cursing.
Yeah.
I was like, how do I express myself?
Yeah.
And then tactical language, which is non-existent in LAPD anymore.
Yeah.
But I just wish, you know, my biggest hope for police officers around the world, around the nation at least, is that it hurts me when I see that these people who are not healed as adults, and then you give us a gun and a badge, and deep inside we're just a little Sarah and a little Alex, you know, with trauma from their parents, with addictions, with fears and all that, and then you give us the power to take somebody's life or freedom. And okay, I think most cops are still decent human beings, but you have those pieces of crap that both me and you know. We've worked alongside with them. We've dealt with. One of them was like your investigator.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you pile on the pressure of that performance of, you gotta hire, fire, investigate, complain, all that, and then, you know, they already hate their freaking miserable life.
Yeah.
And you give them more tasks that they hate doing, so by default they're gonna shit on everybody else around them.
Yeah.
And I understand this as a leader, as I have physical employees, right? You know, I have to lead by example. I can't just, if the client will crap on me, I'm not gonna by default crap on my guys. They'll suffer the consequences,
Right?
And they know it, but I'm not gonna be like, I'm having a bad day because the client told me this. I'm gonna shit on all of you guys.
Yeah.
No, like, this is what happened. I took the fault for you. I fell in the sword for you because I have to. I'm not gonna say, you know, they did it.
Yeah.
But now you guys gonna suffer the fair consequences because it's all fair.
Right.
But you can't just destroy people's lives, and that was the problem with LAPD, because they did to me a similar thing, and I was like, you know what, F you guys.
Yeah.
Not only is it pay trash, and I also have no backing. There's spineless, cowardly leadership. And I had a clip, but I don't know if you know Paul Pantini. Pantini, great guy. I'm trying to get him here as well soon. He made a reel with me that went viral.
Oh,
And I had
wow.
like hundreds of cops, like a green. It was like one, and you could tell the ex-command staff, one of those LAPD cycling teams
Of
guys,
course.
who try to say something like, "Oh, you clearly don't know nothing," blah blah blah. I'm like, you know what? I don't. I only spent 4 or 5 years there. I don't know nothing. But if you know everything, tell me about this scandal or that scandal or this domestic violence or this commander or this captain or this chief getting arrested. Where's all that?
Yeah.
What under which rug do I look for all of that?
Yes.
Since you guys are all saints,
Yeah.
what happens?
Yeah.
We eat shit all the time over stupid things. But all you guys are saints out there in the headquarters building.
Yeah.
You know what happened? And people like that comment a lot too.
Yeah.
And when you have like thousands of views, hundreds of shares, hundreds of likes and hearts, people just saying, "Man, this is true. This happened to me. It's happened to me." So I'm like, Jesus Christ, man! Like this happened. How many thousands of cops are this being done to on a daily basis? They're all saying, "This happened to me. This happened to me. This happened to me." I'm like, that's messed up.
Unacceptable is what it is. And you think like, excuse me, when you are in this little world of being fired or being treated wrong by the department, you get to know all those other people that were also wronged. And you think it's just like, oh, it's just a few people. It's not. It is so much bigger. Like I said, the amount of people that have reached out to me about that, and you hear their stories. And, you know, it's funny because when you do read some of those comments, you're like, okay, so somebody was arguing with me. I can't remember what it was about. Oh, did you see that? There was an officer from North Hollywood. She was fired for like overtime fraud or something. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I'm trying not to even get involved in
Well,
this whole
she like
LAPD stuff anymore.
I know. Well, she was fired for overtime fraud. They said she was putting in like greenies for on call. I know there was a bunch of fraud. So she was fired. She had the same investigator as me. Shocker. Fired, and they tried to offer her a deal for the criminal side of it, and she said, "No, I'm going to take it to trial." Took it to trial, not guilty. Got her job back. Completely vindicated.
Oof.
And the comments on the post by somebody was just like, "You don't know her. She's, you know, she got lucky, this and that." And so somebody like sent me a DM about it because I made a comment, a positive one for her, like, good for her. And you don't know the story. And I was like, "Oh, really? Tell me what the story is." "Well, I don't know. I'm like, okay. I was like,
were you there?
I was
Did you
like,
accept the greenie?
yeah.
Did you go to court?
Yeah. Were you in the trial? Did you sit there and see how she was found not guilty by a jury of her peers? You've missed that part? And so I asked this person, I said, "How many times have you faced discipline or lost your job or been in a situation where you're about to lose everything?" And he said, "Never." And I said, "So how can you sit here and talk about what you would have done or would not have done? And where do you get off thinking that you have the power to have any kind of judgment over this officer and what she went through and what she did and what the outcome was?" Never responded to me.
Of course.
And it's like, these people that comment, and I will say when I first did the podcast and stuff started to go viral, that you get these people. I mean, you should have seen the comments on Marlins about me. "Oh, females shouldn't be cops. Oh, she lost me with her," because I had a tank top on, my tattoos were showing. Here, tattoos. They were like, "Oh, she lost me with the tattoos. The tattoos are garbage." I mean, it's just like all these people, "Oh, she was a terrible sergeant. She did," I mean, all these comments, right?
Yeah.
And you could tell they're all these like retired do-nothings that have their whole identity was a cop. And no, they're not a cop. So they're like, "Oh shit, nobody cares about my war stories anymore. Let me go shit on other people. Give me my keyboard. Give me my Viking helmet and my keyboard." But it's just, you have these people that don't know what it's like because they've never been through it. And so because they don't know what it is, they're afraid of it. So when you're afraid of something and you don't know enough about it, well, I'm going to go talk shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to go judge. Instead of, hey, like, maybe I should ask how that person is doing. Maybe what she went through was a lot more than anybody can handle, but she made it through. Right? When I first was relieved of duty, the amount of people, like I said, I was very fortunate. Like we talked about, the officers that worked for me and the partners at Pacific. Obviously, like, I had some support, but the people that I thought were my true friends, they turned their backs on me. I had my best friend at the time tell me, oh, there's got to be more to your story. She didn't believe me. She's like, there's no way you'd be getting fired just for that.
What a great friend.
We're not friends anymore, right? So it's like,
Surprise, surprise.
yeah, God removes people from your life that don't belong at your table.
Mm-mm.
And it's just how, I guess, like the problem with law enforcement, because you can't get away from it. How do you fix that environment? You can't, right? You're putting, like you said, a bunch of alphas in one spot to do a really hard job, to see really hard things every single day.
Without means of dealing with it.
Right. Without like decompression and having a stigma of therapy. And maybe people don't know how to work out. Maybe people don't know how to eat healthy, don't know how to have habits outside of alcohol, sex, and gambling. I mean, maybe that's all they know how to turn to. Maybe they've had an upbringing with no parents, no guidance, and they turn to other cops, bad influences for guidance. We don't know that about that person. But how hard is it for a supervisor to give a shit about their guys and realize, hey, that person's been really quiet this week. Pull them aside and say, is everything okay? But they don't do that. Nobody does that. Nobody says, oh, let me check on this person that's been IOD for 3 months. Hey, how are you doing? Is everything okay? Because what if they're at home suffering? What if they don't want to be IOD? Some people like to milk the system and want to be IOD. And some people are, I can't be home another day because I'm by myself and I have nothing. How do you know the difference? Do you know your people? Do you not know your people? Most people don't know their people. Most people go on, again, it's just a checkbox thing. I show up at work. I need to go, I worked out every day before work out, shower, put my shit on, get down there early, get the lineup, make sure everybody's here. Who banged in? Who do I got to do? What do I got to do? Get all this stuff out. And then you get in the field and make sure calls aren't pending. People are, you do all this stuff as a supervisor. Where's the point where they tell you, hey, slow down and check on your people? Nobody teaches that. Nobody says that. I did it instinctively and people judged me for this comment, but I'm a mom, right? So it was kind of like, they all called me mom. Like my watch is like, okay, mom. Not in a way where I think I'm mothering them. It's just in a way of like, they looked up to me like somebody that cared about them. Like that knew that I'm going to be here for you. If you need to talk to me about something outside of this, I'm here for you. I'm not going to go and be like, oh, IA, I think this person, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I'm going to do. I hate IA. I hate using the word hate. I do not like IA.
Yeah.
That's another word. Like, I don't like it.
You hear that, Marlon?
Oh, he knows. Trust me, he knows.
Marlon, I respect that. He'll be the first one to speak up.
Yeah. It's just, they're ill-intentioned. Because if they weren't, then people like me wouldn't have lost their jobs.
Then
Right.
they wouldn't have a job.
Right.
They need to work for their job, but I think they need to know the line where there's a lie and there's a truth, and like you said earlier, to your point, there's a human being behind it.
Yeah.
And if you're so focused on just getting your number that I'm the first person in the department, I fired 15 different officers a quarter. Yeah, but how many lives did you ruin?
Yeah.
How many mothers or fathers or lives did you ruin?
And for what?
Yeah. So you
Like-
can get your quarterly, a little bonus. Not bonus, but like your little,
Yeah.
good job, but
Yeah.
it's a promotion right here. We go from
Yeah.
sergeant to lieutenant because
Well, you got Investigator of the Year
Yeah,
this year.
Investigator of the Year.
Great job.
Yeah, and
That
I
means
just
something.
hate the whole thing. Like, well, if you want to be promoted, you gotta be sergeant IA, and that's the way to promote. Like, what a way to incentivize people to be pieces of shit.
Yeah. That's
You
what
know?
they want,
Go
though.
do a piece of shit job that by default turned into a piece of shit, and you get to promote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And God forbid they make a mistake.
Yeah.
That's just, like you said, swept under the rug.
Oh, but don't look above you. Just look beneath you.
Yeah.
Above? No.
Yeah,
Command
yeah.
staff is saints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like, Marla and I had a conversation actually this morning, and we were talking about that. It's like, I'd be curious to know these people that are in positions of power with the department. How many times have they witnessed disparate treatment? People being treated differently. It's all the time, so they can't say never. People getting into a DUI with an injury and they just get an OR, right? An admonishment, like, okay,
Mhm.
don't do it again, no contract.
Mhm.
Then you have another person with a different rank who gets 22 days in a contract.
Mhm.
Like, how many times have they seen that and not said anything? And what would the cost have been to say something? Hey, why are we having discrepancy here? What is the cost for that? Is the cost your promotion? Is the cost you now getting targeted and maybe getting rid of?
Mhm.
Like, what is that?
All of it. All of it.
It's like, I would love for somebody to come and tell the truth for once
They won't.
about how that goes.
If it's like the whole system will collapse.
It should collapse.
I think it should collapse. Yeah.
Sheriff should
I-
come and just take over, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if sheriffs can.
Well, who
Sheriffs are
else is going
also-
to take over?
Exactly. I don't have a solution for that either. But it's like that in every field, including it starts all the way at the top. So if our government is like that,
Yeah.
our municipalities are like that,
Yeah.
our Congress and House representative and state offices, what do you expect from police departments?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
What's I'm saying? Like, when I say collapse, it's like how God stripped me of everything.
Mm-hmm.
God needs to come and strip this world and start over.
Yeah.
It's just let it crumble.
It's
But,
coming.
like with the
It's
whole
coming.
Epstein list and stuff, somebody did a post about that. It said, if exposing the list and making arrests is going to cause the government to collapse, let it collapse.
Yep. I
Right?
saw that post.
If it's going to protect our children, if it's going to protect our families, that needs to happen. That's what I mean by that, not like literally collapse. It just, if doing the right thing is going to cause something to collapse, what does that say about the establishment?
Go for it. Make it collapse.
It
I'm
says
all
that
for
things
it.
are so toxic and evil that if doing the right thing is going to cause a detriment to the establishment, you're doing something wrong, right? So that's my take on that, but I don't know.
Wow.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
a lot
I
of
didn't
stuff.
even get to. We're like 2.5 hours in. I
Oh
didn't
my
even get
gosh.
to learn who Sarah is.
I know.
What makes. We're gonna have to say that for a whole new episode.
I know.
You might be my longest episode
Really?
so far. Yeah.
I do talk a lot. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's I loved everything you said. Yeah, this is like I said. This platform is for people to tell their story, and I think you had a beautiful story. I enjoy listening to it,
Thank
and
you.
I think you can do a lot of good in this world.
Thank
You
you.
you have that in you.
Thank
You
you.
can do a lot of good in
I
this
hope
world,
so.
and if there's anything I can do to help, I'll be honored to. And just your whole journey of, because as you were telling me the story, I was like, where is this going to? Where is this going to? And I'm so glad that you brought it, and you're not even at the end,
Yeah.
but
I'm not.
I'm glad that how you brought it into the fact that it brought you closer to God. Because at the end of the day, that's what it is, man. Because that's my journey is the same way. It brought me back to Him, because I came from Him, and it's just making wonders and miracles.
Yep.
And if this episode can help at least one person out there to bring him closer to God, then hey, man, me and you can sleep good at night.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tell my viewers, my listeners, my loyal fans, how to find you. What is it that you do? How to find you, and what I guess I don't want to say it selfishly. I'm sorry, I kept talking for a long time.
No.
Tell how to connect with you. Let's keep it that way.
Well, I have Instagram, obviously.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh,
I have Instagram.
you're on social media?
Yes. Shocking, I know.
Uh-huh.
It's like Sarah ___ Patterson, because there was a lot of Sarah Pattersons.
Okay.
And then I just started the podcast. It's called
Mhm.
After the Storm Podcast.
Mhm.
So at After the Storm Podcast is my Instagram handle for that. So you can contact me that way. I respond to like every DM. So
Just wait to start getting traction.
yeah,
And
I know it's going to get
yeah,
hard.
Yeah. It's gonna,
Right now, I don't get that many, but
Yeah.
I respond to
You
people.
will. You will.
So
But well, listen, Sarah. I think again, I can't thank you. I know you drove from far, and just I loved your story. I loved your story, and what you've gone through is definitely challenging, but it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful journey, and I admire you for speaking up about it, because it's one thing to also going through things, but another thing is reliving it by talking about it, and that's hard.
yeah,
But I think you're gonna inspire a lot of people to make a difference. So
I can only hope.
Yeah.
Can
You
only
will.
hope.
You will. You are. You already, like I said, you already inspired me. I'm about to go tell my wife all about it. Babe, did you know she went through the same crap? She
Yep.
found God too. We're not alone.
Fired twice.
Yeah. But she was fired twice. You know. Yeah. But yeah. So thank you so much for being here, and
Thank you.
I'd love to do it again. Maybe give you a little bit of time to come up with some new cool stuff. Go
Yeah.
through some more
Yeah.
stuff. Find some more. Find the next level of faith. Get fired again. I'm just kidding. No. Let's not do that again. And but yeah. So looking forward to it, and thank you, and thank you guys for watching, for listening, and do follow Sarah, please. And she's got a beautiful story, and yeah, make a difference in your own life, and connect with her. She's got a ton of value to bring to you guys, and be sure to follow, subscribe, and share this with other people, in particular and especially police officers and first responders who can learn from Sarah's journey. So thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.